Smith, president of Cresco. We can help you find the right tools for your project, and we can show you how to use them. If you need it, Cresco's got it.
All over the Bay Area and online at CrescoRent.com.
It's time to donate to One Warm Cup at KTV.com to find a location near you.
Time is 7:40. There's a lot happening right now in the city of Oakland. Just days ago, the Oakland A's announced plans to build a new stadium at Howard Terminal while redeveloping the Coliseum complex in East Oakland. Just days before that, a new report was released on the Oakland Police Department's use of force. We welcome Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf to our studio this morning. Thanks for being here.
Of course, Gassia.
Let's start with that report from the independent monitor that's overseeing OPD. There was a celebrated 75% drop in use of force by OPD. This independent auditor finds that number may not be accurate. How concerned are you about the instances he found in which officers pulled a gun, used force, but did not report it?
Credibility is so important for our police department, and not only is it important that our public believes that we are being absolutely honest and transparent with all matters regarding our police department, but it's that data that we use to actually change our policies and evolve, because we would like to get to a place where we absolutely minimize any use of force.
Have you talked to the chief about this?
Absolutely. Many, many times.
Recently in regard to this report?
Of course. Several times.
And have you asked for a top-to-bottom audit? What do you want from OPD?
Actually, a top-to-bottom audit by our own department had already begun. And I will say that the only non-reported uses of force were what we call level 4. And most of them were instances where an officer had taken out their gun and pointed it at a low angle towards a person. And this is something that we believe can definitely be clarified through better training. But the important thing is that we report it. The other thing, though, that the independent monitor found was that all uses of force reviewed were, in fact, proper and called for. And that gave us a lot of confidence that at least these were all proper uses. Now, it's important as we continue to really dig down into this that we use the data to change our policies. And we have seen very significant reductions in our level 1 use of force. That's an actual officer-involved shootings. And we believe that the changes in our policies and practices are a very big reason why we have so many fewer police shootings than we've ever had in years past.
Let's touch on OPD's use of body cameras, which we've talked a lot about in recent years. The independent monitor found that in about 6 of the 38 cases he reviewed, officers failed to turn on their body-worn cameras. For so many Oaklanders, that's the truth, what the camera shows. Are you particularly troubled about not turning on the camera when you should?
Listen, I'm thankful because Oakland was one of the very first cities in the country to actually start using body-worn cameras. That is why we have this incredibly powerful tool.
But if the officers aren't using them?
Absolutely. That is something that they will, in fact, be disciplined for if, in fact, that is found. Those are the types of things that these audits reveal, and it's incredibly important for our community to have its trust that they know that not only do we have these policies in place, but we are constantly going back in time to double check to make sure that they are being followed.
Let's switch topics here and move quickly to the A's ballpark.
Yes.
I know you always like that Howard Terminal site, and you're a longtime A's fan. Let's talk about what are the next steps from the city in making this agreement become a reality with the A's.
Well, I am thrilled because the A's are not only proposing this just visionary project on our beautiful waterfront. I think you can walk to the...
I can. It's about a half mile from where we are right now, Mayor.
But they also have proposed a really community-centric vision for the Coliseum area in East Oakland. So I'm thrilled that they are willing to invest in both neighborhoods. The next steps are going to be to work out the land deals. Both of these pieces of land are publicly owned. Sometimes the ownership is complicated. In the case of the Coliseum, it's co-owned by the city and the county. So we've been trying to work out deals where the city can buy the county out of their share to simplify further negotiations.
So you would buy the county out and then you would sell to Dave Cabell?
Well, I don't know if we'll sell or we'll do long-term leases. We are allowed to enter into 99-year leases that allows the city to retain the value of the underlying land, but give control over to the private developer who in this case is going to be making a huge investment. And I just got to say, I have always stuck to my guns about no public subsidies for sports stadiums. And the A's have always been clear that this is a privately financed ballpark. So thank you for hearing that message.
A big relief for Oaklanders, I'm sure. Let's talk quickly about a toy drive that's important not just to the Bay Area, but specifically to Oaklanders. Tell me what's happening at City Hall.
You know, so many families are struggling, and no parent should have to look at their children on Christmas Day empty-handed. And so this is the 40th annual Mayor's Toy Drive in Oakland. If you know of a family, or you are a family that is struggling this holiday season, you can come by my office in City Hall or any of our public libraries. Many of them across the city also have registration forms, but you do need to pre-register to be able to pick up some toys for your family. And then please, people, we are short on toys this year. Please bring us unwrapped new toys. You can bring them down to City Hall, or there are also pickup locations at fire stations and libraries throughout the city, or make a donation. It's easy to do at the City of Oakland's website. Go to oaklandca.gov, do a search for Toy Drive, and there's a big donate button. You can't miss it. Please bring some holiday joy to our Oakland families this year.
And in return, you get that warm, fuzzy feeling that you can't get anywhere else.
That's what the holidays are actually about.
Okay, Oakland Mayor Olivia Schaff, it's a joy to have you in studio. If I don't see you, happy holidays.
Oh, thank you, Garcia.
Thank you. Let's help get you out the door now at 7:46. Sal Castaneda is doing just that.
All right, thank you, Garcia. Right now, we are looking at some commutes that are going to be pretty busy, and we were just talking about 80 westbound. I wish I had better news for you, but they still continue to try and clear this crash on 80 and Hercules right near Highway 4, and really has slowed traffic down. This might be unusually slow for you if you're driving from Vallejo toward Richmond or Oakland. They still have clearing stages of that crash. It's been there for a while. Now it's taken 48 minutes to drive from the Carquinez Bridge to the MacArthur Maze. Once you get to the maze, it looks all right. There have been no major problems. This is a look at 880. A lot of slow traffic in Hayward and Fremont, really southbound direction. Northbound, not too bad. Southbound, very slow from basically San Leandro all the way to Fremont. And San Jose traffic is slow. This is 280 in San Jose downtown. That looks all right. 7:47. Let's bring in Rosemary for today's weather.
All right, Sal, thank you very much. Good morning to you. Partly cloudy skies out there. A chilly start to the day. Cool afternoon. Highs expected once again. And then as we get into a Bay Area Tuesday, rain on the way. So we will be dry for today. A little rainy on Tuesday. Showers possible Wednesday. Looks like we'll dry out by Thursday. Here's a look at the futurecast for you this morning. We actually started out with some cloud cover. That helped us in the overnight hours. Although temperatures really cooled off, it could have been worse. In fact, there was a freeze warning for our inland communities that was canceled early on because of the cloud cover this morning, helped to offset some of that cooling. Here's a look at the futurecast model. Timestamp reads Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. So if it does move in, as we're seeing here, could be a bit of a slick morning drive. If it holds off for just an hour or two, could be a dry morning drive. Sal will be here tracking it for you. Steve will be back tomorrow morning. As we get into the afternoon, the scatter showers will continue. It looks like it's going to be a rainy, perhaps a lunch hour, and then as we get into the evening hours, perhaps even some moderate rain moving through. So it's going to be a wet one out there. Here's a look at Tuesday night, where it does begin to wind down, but we are going to remain with scatter showers in the forecast for Wednesday as well. As far as rainfall amounts, right now it looks like perhaps up to about half-inch or so, less than that for some on Tuesday, another round on Wednesday. Just a little bit of that residual moisture and shower activity hanging on for Thursday morning before we dry out Friday, and it looks like we'll be dry for the weekend as well. As far as the cloud cover has backed off some, has moved out. We've got a little bit of cloud cover along the coastline and inside the bay. And as we get into the second part of the afternoon, those clouds will continue to increase. Right now, 48 degrees in San Francisco, in the North Bay, 36 in Santa Rosa for the inner East Bay, low 40s in Livermore. So a chill in the air. Half Moon Bay, 52. I guess not too bad for you there. Notice the afternoon highs. We struggle once again. Mid to upper 50s expected. And if we get that cloud cover in here sooner than later, that could actually offset some of that warm feeling as well. In the extended forecast, we continue in the 50s. So it's going to be a cool week for us as we move through. But the rain moving in on Tuesday, leaving us on Thursday, and leaving us with the dry forecast for your Bay Area weekend, Dave Clark.
But I do know where my umbrella is.
That is definitely a good idea. If not, you're going to need the rain gear.
No, I Rosemary, thanks. time is 7:50. Shopping in stores without pulling out your wallet. How Amazon is expanding its cashier-less technology already in place in San Francisco. First, though, let's check in with Mike Meeback, see what's coming up with Mornings on 2. Good morning, Mike.
All right, good morning to you, Dave. Coming up in the next hour, taking steps to ban styrofoam containers. The Bay Area County getting ready to join the list of cities and counties getting rid of those containers. Also, contributions on and off the field. Coming up on the 9, we're live with former San Francisco Giants outfielder Hunter Pence and his wife, who are being honored today for their work with children in need. We're back after the break.
Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Rush in for $2,500 cash back on RAV4 or choose 0% APR on RAV4 or RAV4 Hybrid. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
This is a fight, not to the finish, but to the beginning. A fight that can only be won if we stand together for one cause. Him. Expert care for every new beginning.
The Mercedes-Benz Winter Event is back. And you won't want to stop for anything else. Lease the C300 Sport Sedan for $419 a month at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
Swirl into the holiday spirit at San Francisco Ballet's Nutcracker. For tickets, search or visit sfballet.org.
Diamond, the forever gift. The jewelry exchange has the lowest prices ever. Half carat $2.99, 1 carat $5.99, 1.5 carat $13.90, 2 carat $19.90, plus thousands of GIA diamonds at insane prices. The jewelry exchange, Redwood City.
Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Just announced. Get $1,500 cash back on Camry or get low 0.9% financing. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back to Mornings on 2 at 7:53. Wall Street is celebrating and very encouraging words about trade talks with China. Pam Cook back in the studio with today's Dollars and Cents.
Yes, this is the big headline. Basically, the trade talks will continue, but there is now an agreement between the U.S. and China to hold off on any new tariffs for now. Now, President Trump tweeted that, quote, China has agreed to reduce and remove tariffs on cars coming into China from the U.S. Right now, the tariff is 40%. President Trump and China's president met at Argentina over the weekend at the G20 summit. He agreed to keep the tariff rate on Chinese imports at 10% for at least 90 days so that the negotiations can continue. If there's no agreement, the White House says the tariff rate will go up to 25%. Now, when the opening bell rang this morning, there was a moment of silence for the late President George H.W. Bush, and then the Dow shot up more than 300 points on optimism over the trade talks. Checking in on the numbers right now, the Dow Jones coming back a little bit from that initial shot, but it's still up 230 points. There's a live look at the big board, up almost a full percentage point. The S&P 500 up 0.75% to 2782. The NASDAQ up more than 1% now, 7417. Well, Amazon is testing its cashierless checkout technology in bigger stores. The Wall Street Journal says Amazon is testing it in Seattle. The system tracks what you pick up from the shelves and then automatically charges you when you leave the store. The technology functions well in Amazon's current small Go stores, but it's reportedly harder to use in bigger stores with higher ceilings and more products. Stanford University taking steps to ensure the school remains bright without increasing greenhouse gas emissions. Stanford just announced it is building another solar generating plant combined with current rooftop solar power and its first solar station. It will provide enough electricity to cover all the school's electric needs. The plant will be built about 35 miles south of Fresno, and it's expected to be online in 3 years. So we'll watch for that. But also, UC Santa Cruz has been working with a solar company to try to use more renewable energy, and it's kind of the way a lot of universities, I know a lot of high schools have the solar panels over parking structures now, so it provides shade and generates power. So
it's
good
smart.
move. Yes.
All right, Pam, thanks. Time is 7:55, marking 2 years since Oakland's deadly ghost ship warehouse fire.
We're being given a life sentence of pain, okay? The void that is in our heart can never be replaced because of what happened here.
Coming up at 8 o'clock, preparing for the new trial starting today. Plus, a youth football trip tragically ends with a bus crash. What we know now about a team from Tennessee and what led to that crash.
We're kicking off the holidays with our biggest day of hot topics. Plus, make us your one-stop holiday shop.
Today at 10 on KTVU Fox 2. Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Just announced. Get $1,500 cash back on Camry or get low 0.9% financing. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
Where can I get a new mattress?
Revive Sleep Center.
Wait, where?
Living spaces.
Do you have options? I need options.
We've got plenty of options.
Like Tempur-Pedic?
Yep. Beauty rest? Yep.
Stearns and Foster?
And then some.
Do you have the ones that come in a box?
Yeah, we've got our own.
Can I order mine online?
Yep.
Can I try before I buy?
Yeah. Swing by our store and work with an expert.
Hi, how's it going? But are we really going to sleep better?
Well, you tell us. Buy your mattress today. Wake up revived tomorrow.
It's the parking out front when you really, really need it. It's the room that's less sort of private and more private. It's the doors that were open here when we had to close them here. It's the relentless determination to get you home as soon as humanly possible. It's 1,000 things, big and small. Sutter Health.
Broadway's Come From Away is the best musical winner all across North America. Celebrate the best of humankind and the best in all of us at Come From Away.
For tickets, visit shnsf.com.
Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Rush in for $2,500 cash back on RAV4 or choose 0% APR on RAV4 or RAV4 Hybrid. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
We can destroy Lucia's lion.
Plus Wednesday is the Empire Fall finale. This is my reputation.
Lucius, he's your son!
Lucius. Do you want to tell them or should I?
Empire. Wednesday at 8 on KTVU Fox 2.
The co-defendants in the ghost ship warehouse fire case are expected to be in court today. We'll break down exactly what's going to happen coming up.
And a live look now at the hearse-carrying President George H.W. Bush. It's on the road leaving Houston, heading to Washington, D.C. This is where the 41st president will lie in state. More on the ceremony happening now in the events planned this week in his honor.
Well, this section of 16th Street is back open following an investigation that 2 people may have been shot in the early morning hours, not far from the police substation in the Mission.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Mornings on 2. I'm Mike Niebeck.
I'm Garcia Michaeli. Let's get you out the door this cold Monday morning. There's also rain in the forecast, Rosemary.
Yes, returns tomorrow. So this morning it's going to be a a chilly one outside, a cool afternoon, but dry conditions expected for the entire day. And then by tomorrow morning, that rain begins to move in. Here's a look from San Francisco across the bay. We started out with partly to mostly cloudy skies, and those clouds actually helped us out this morning. National Weather Service had put together a freeze warning for our Inland Valley locations. North Bay, East Bay decided to cancel that because those clouds helped with the offset, or helped to offset the cooling in the overnight hours. Right now, SFO, a blue sky overhead in San Francisco, reporting 49 degrees. So it is still a chilly start. It's not as bad as it was yesterday morning. Santa Rosa at 37, upper 40s in Oakland, a low 40s in Livermore, and San Jose at 46. 24-hour temperature change there shows you we're up by 6 degrees in Oakland, by 7 in San Carlos, and for the South Bay, up by 4 over San Jose. Getting into the afternoon for today, we'll go partly cloudy, turning mostly cloudy by tonight. And here's a look at some of that cloud cover out there still at this hour. Visibility hasn't been much of an issue this morning. Can't see any patchy dense fog out there. So that's some good news as well. The winds up from the northeast in areas over Hayward, coming in from the south SFO, although reported calm, and coming from the east over areas of Livermore. So light variable wind out there for today. Here is a look at the temperatures. Notice struggling once again. Not even expected to hit 60 degrees this afternoon. San Francisco at 56, Oakland at 57, Fremont at 56 as well. That rain begins to move in. Could actually be here by tomorrow morning in time for the morning drive. More on that in just a little bit. It is 8:01. Let's check on the drive with Sal. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Right now, we do have traffic that is going to be busy on 80 westbound. We had some earlier issues, and that's why if you're driving from the Carquinez Bridge to the MacArthur Mains, it's taken 40 minutes now. Despite what the issues that we had, we've seen it much worse, so you can look at the glass half full on that. Also at the Bay Bridge, you can see traffic is busy getting into San Francisco. 880 has slowed from San Leandro north. Now heading south, it's slow from San Leandro all the way to Fremont. South Bay commutes are very slow, so these commutes are slow. We've had some crashes. Northbound 17, the latest crash in Campbell near Hamilton Avenue. Watch for a crash there, slowing traffic down. 8:02, let's go back to the desk.
Happening today, the two men charged in connection with the deadly ghost ship warehouse fire are set to be in court in the next hour. KTVU's Sarah Zandonal live outside the Alameda County Courthouse in Oakland. Sarah, this is the next step in a new criminal trial for Derek Almena and Max Harris.
That's right, and of course, family is just waiting, victims' family is just waiting for an answer in this entire thing. It's a drawn-out process, but they're really hoping for justice to be served. Now, of course, Almena and Harris are expected to make a brief court appearance today at that hearing that's supposed to start, like you guys said, just under an hour. So what's expected to happen inside the courtroom? Well, these co-defendants could find out which judge is assigned to their case. They could go to trial as early as spring. Prosecutors say the pair created fire trap conditions that led to the death of 36 people in the ghost ship warehouse fire. They both are charged with 36 counts of involuntary manslaughter. The original plea deal Almena and Harris took for their roles in the ghost ship fire was rejected by a judge in August. The plea deal would have put Almena behind bars for nearly 9 years and Harris for 6 years. Last month, another judge rejected a bid by Almena to reinstate the plea deal. Some family members of the victims were surprised but grateful the plea deal wasn't accepted. They thought the punishment wasn't enough. Sunday marked 2 years since the fire, but for loved ones, the emotions are still as fresh as they were the day it happened.
Here we are standing in front of the building where my daughter died, you know? It's just, it's surreal.
I've mixed emotions. I've anger, disbelief.
I don't know what to think about this place, if it's cursed.
As for the civil trial that involves the building's landlords, PG&E, and the city of Oakland, that's expected to start in October of next year. In Oakland this morning, Sarah Zandonal, KTVU Fox 2 News.
Right now in Texas, a motorcade is underway taking the late President George H.W. Bush to an airfield in Houston, where Air Force One is waiting to transport the 41st President of the United States back to Washington, D.C. one last time. A live picture here of that motorcade underway as the hearse is making its way to that airfield. This week there are several public and private events scheduled in Houston as well as Washington, D.C. Live picture here of that airfield there, honoring President Bush. When he arrives in Washington, D.C., the former president will lie in state At the U.S. Capitol, he will be the 11th president to receive this rare form of final tribute. Longtime friend James Baker was with him at the end and remembers his last words to his son and fellow former president.
And he said those words to 43, President George Bush 43, who had called him to say, "Dad, I love you. I will see you on the other side." And President Bush said, "I love you." And those were his last words.
A Bush family spokesman posted a photo showing the president's service dog Sully by his side over the past weekend. The former president will lie in state in the rotunda of the U.S. Capitol from tonight through Wednesday morning. A state funeral will be held Wednesday at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. Following the service, he will be flown back to Houston, where another public viewing will be held. Then on Thursday, he will be laid to rest in College Station, Texas, in a family plot near his wife Barbara, who died earlier this year.
Time now is 8:06. Today, students from schools that were destroyed in the Camp Fire are heading back to class, but at other schools in different parts of Butte County. Arrangements, though, have been made to keep students and teachers together. Students at Paradise Elementary will be attending class in Oroville. Students at the town's other 5 schools will be bused to nearby towns.
The Bird Street School, 90 children and all of their teachers and their principal decided that they would move their entire campus to another sister school, which is the Stanford School.
I have a lot of memories there, but it's gonna rebuild, I'm pretty sure, and I'll be able to go back up there.
Students and other parents say that just being able to be back in class with their friends will help make life seem a little more normal. Coming up at 8:30, we're going to bring in KTV's Ali Rasmussen on more from students and staff as they start their first day back.
We continue to follow a developing story in Central Arkansas. A charter bus carrying a youth football team crashed, killing 1 child and injuring at least 40 other people. That bus was carrying a team from Tennessee just a day after competing in a tournament in Dallas, Texas. The bus crashed when it took a sharp curve, leaving the interstate. Police are now interviewing the bus driver. New this morning, reports of an early morning shooting in San Francisco's Mission District. As KTV's Lee Martinez reports, witnesses say 2 people were shot.
Now, police cleared the scene at 4:30 this morning. Now, we don't have any confirmation yet, but we're hearing that it was ShotSpotter that brought police out to this section of 16th Street where they found 2 people shot. Now, again, nothing has been confirmed by police, but we're hearing reports that 2 people were shot at 16th near Valencia, and the condition of the victims is unknown. But we did hear also reports that the medical examiner was called out to the scene. Now, this is not far from the Mission Police Station, just 1 block away. The Mission had been plagued by shootings over the summer, with 2 in June, 2 in July, and 1 drive-by shooting in August. At this time, we do not know if a suspect was taken into custody. Now, again, we're hearing reports that 2 people were shot. We have calls and emails into police, but we have not heard word back yet. In San Francisco, Lee Martinez, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
An art project has been commissioned to honor Oscar Grant, the BART passenger who was shot and killed by a police officer. A mural will be created outside the Fruitvale BART station in Oakland. That's where Grant was killed 10 years ago on New Year's Day. BART signed a $30,000 contract with muralist Refa One. Many of his pieces are seen around Oakland. The final design has yet to be decided, but Grant's uncle says he hopes the mural will resemble his nephew and capture the love he shared for others.
It's an extension of love and appreciation, not appreciation, but an atonement.
Grant's family members say they hope one day the station will be renamed Grant Fruitvale Station.
Well, a possible White House bid for a California senator. Up next, when we will know whether or not Kamala Harris will run for president in 2020.
Also, a backyard explosion caught on camera. Up next, the illegal activity that caused that shed to burst into flames.
KTVU Fox 2.
Where the power of 2 comes from you.
Connecting people. Uniting the world.
Friday sales event. Rush in for 2,500 cash back on RAV4 or choose 0% APR on RAV4 or RAV4 Hybrid. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
Something's wrong with your car, it's tough to know which parts to blame. So take your car to someone who's trained to fix and replace virtually all of them.
You may just know us for transmissions, but at AMCO, we repair everything from brakes and shocks to the toughest engine problem.
AA MCO.
Now through December 31st, get up to a $200 Visa prepaid card by mail when you purchase $1,000 or more with your AMCO credit card.
We decided to go with Bathfitter after doing a lot of research.
Yeah, we loved how they could install a new tub right over the old one without tearing our bathroom apart.
Yeah, what we didn't expect was to be blown away by the quality. And that's what happened. They showed up in the morning, and by the end of the day, we had this absolutely beautiful new bathtub. It was better than we could have even imagined.
And it's guaranteed for life.
I actually love our bathroom now.
Book your free in-home consultation today. Call or visit bathfitter.com.
Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Just announced. Get 1,500 cash back on Camry or get low 0.9% financing. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
The death of Ray Taliaferro, the longtime KGO radio talk show host, is still being investigated by police in Kentucky. His body was found in a wooded area just about a mile from where it was last seen November 10th. Taliaferro's wife told police that he may have been suffering from early onset dementia and was becoming more forgetful. No information has been released yet about the cause of death.
Antioch police are looking for a hit-and-run driver who hit a woman in a wheelchair. She was hit early yesterday morning while crossing Lone Tree Way near Clearbrook Road. Photos from the East County Today website showed wheelchairs terribly mangled. There's also a case of red lipstick, a shoe, and a purse found near the wheelchair. One man told us he helped a woman in a wheelchair in that general area on Friday night. He says he thinks it could be the same woman.
She was on the street and she was having trouble getting up on the sidewalk with her chair. The pictures that you showed me, it looked like her wheelchair and her belongings.
He told us what he remembered most about the woman was her bright red lipstick. Police are not identifying the woman, only to say she is 65 years old and lives in Discovery Bay. East County Today reports she is hospitalized in critical condition.
A Modesto man is recovering this morning after being burned in a backyard explosion. Take a look at this security camera video from a neighbor here. It shows a shed exploding and then going up in flames. It happened just after 2:30 Friday morning.
Roof fell off, flew off the shed. The sign flew. I don't know how he was even as okay as he was.
The Modesto Bee reports a fire investigation unit has determined the fire was the result of a butane hash or honey oil lab. The man is being treated for third-degree burns.
Contra Costa County supervisors will meet tomorrow to discuss a possible ordinance that would ban styrofoam food and drink containers. More than 100 other California cities and counties have some form of a ban. Styrofoam and other similar materials can be difficult or even impossible to recycle. And of course, they add to the overall waste at local landfills. When the board meets tomorrow morning, they'll likely direct staff members to draw up an ordinance that would be considered at a later date.
There is a push in San Francisco to extend the free tuition program for residents at City College for another 20 years. The free City College program started last year and is set to expire in June. It has contributed to a 17% jump in the school's enrollment. The San Francisco Chronicle reports that San Francisco supervisor Jane Kim wants the city to establish a long-term free City College fund. If the supervisors approve the proposal, a measure would be placed on the November 2019 ballot. California Senator Kamala Harris says she plans to announce by the end of the year if she will run for president in 2020. Senator Harris made that announcement over the weekend in San Francisco, and over the past year, speculation has been mounting that Senator Harris would run for president in the election. She says that it's a very serious decision that will be made with her family over the holidays.
Time now is 8:14. Sal, I'm guessing in the coming weeks we're going to see traffic patterns change a bit because of the holidays.
We are, and as we get closer to the middle or the end of the month, you're going to see that. But today is just a normal day. I do have some good news about 80. We finally got rid of, not we, but CHP and crews finally got rid of the accident on 80 westbound near Highway 4. But a lot of people who were stuck in that backup are now heading west, and there's a big traffic jam heading westbound on 80, and the commute is still pretty severe. No, I wouldn't say severe. I would say it's pretty strong. It's robust, as I've heard someone say. 80 westbound between the Carquinez Bridge and the MacArthur Maze. About a 15 to 20 minute delay at the toll plaza. And then we have slow traffic all over the East Bay, which is not unusual. San Mateo and Dumbarton Bridge are slow. The peninsula traffic has been slow in Burlingame and San Mateo. And that South Bay commute continues to be very slow, which, again, not unusual getting up. The only thing that I would say might take you by surprise is this accident northbound 17 near Hamilton. But watch for slow traffic on 17 getting out of Los Gatos on the way to San Jose. 8:15. Let's go to Roe.
All right, good morning, Sal, and good morning to you. Partly cloudy skies outdoors this morning, turning mostly cloudy. And as we get into your Tuesday morning, rain into the Bay Area. More on that in just a moment. Let's take a look from San Francisco across the Bay, where you can see mostly cloudy picture from here. We've had a little bit of blue sky out there. We've had some cloud cover in the overnight hours. It was the cloud cover that actually helped us out. The National Weather Service had issued a freeze warning for our inland communities, but because of that cloud cover, we were spared just a little bit, and they canceled that advisory. Still a very chilly start, though. We'll take a look at the numbers in just a moment. Here's a look at the next storm that is going to be working its way closer to the coast as we roll through our Bay Area Monday, but again is expected to hold off until Tuesday morning. So we'll call for dry conditions today. Wet weather on Tuesday, could linger into Wednesday, maybe even Thursday before we dry out. Here's a look at the futurecast for your Monday afternoon. Notice the increase in cloud cover by tonight. Sunset's right about 4:50. Temperatures are going to struggle once again in the 50s for today. Here's a look at tomorrow morning. The rain could start early enough to impact the morning drive. We'll be tracking it for you. This could change up just a little bit, but maybe expect those slick roads just in case. Then as we get into the noon hour, it looks like widespread rain expected for folks at their lunchtime, and then into the afternoon, breaks, hit or miss scattered showers, but there's still more behind me. So as we get into the evening drive, likely to have that wet weather remaining in place. There's Tuesday night. It's winding down, but it doesn't go away. Scattered showers in the forecast for Wednesday as well. And then we do dry out by Thursday. As far as rainfall amounts, not as strong of a storms as we have seen recently. Could pick up ½ inch or less on Tuesday. We'll pick up more on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, perhaps just a few residual showers through the morning hours. Here's a look at Storm Tracker 2, where again, we continue with partly to mostly cloudy skies along the coastline. Partly cloudy around the bay. 47 right now in Oakland. 48 in San Francisco. So a bit of a chill in the air, but where it is just outright cold. North Bay, Santa Rosa, 37 for you there. As we shift south just a little bit, Morgan Hill at 43. Saratoga reporting 44. Afternoon highs for today, mostly cloudy skies, widespread 50s once again, very similar to yesterday. And we will struggle in the 50s for the remaining days. If you take a look at the extended forecast, not going to change, but the weather Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, dry for our Bay Area weekend. And for the Sierra, snow levels down to about 5,500 feet, but no advisories just yet. Not going to see as much snow as last week when we picked up 2-3 feet.
Which was nice.
It was very nice. Maybe an inch or two with each passing day.
Got it. All right. Thanks, Rosemary.
Let's talk about that snow. Business is booming in Lake Tahoe after snowstorms brought more people to the Sierra over the weekend. Drivers on 80 encountered fresh powder at about 4,000 feet. Stores and restaurants and truckies say about 2/3 of their business this weekend came from out-of-towners who came to enjoy the snow. They say the next few weekends really are crucial to make up for a relatively late start to the snow season.
This first snow wasn't as exciting as it typically is, but you got to regroup and you got to replenish everything from the holidays. So next weekend and the following weekends should be good.
Ace Mountain Hardware and Truckee says they should sell about 1,000 snow shovels between right now and New Year's.
All right, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf just joined us right here on Mornings at 2 on 2 about 30 minutes ago. Up next, what she has to say about the use of force investigation in the Oakland Police Department.
First, though, headed to the International Space Station when a group of astronauts, including one from the United States, plans to do on its mission after a similar attempt had to be called off last month.
All week, we're helping you score the best shopping deals in town. Here on Bling. Plus, Nazanin Manji.
Today at 11 on JTV times 2. Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Just announced, get up to $2,000 down payment match, plus an additional $500 bonus cash on Corolla. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
Xfinity X5, a more powerful way to stay connected. It gives you super fast speeds for all your devices, enhanced coverage, and lets you control your network with the X5 app. It's the ultimate Wi-Fi experience. Xfinity X5. Simple, easy, awesome. Xfinity X5 gives you the speed, coverage, and control you need. Manage your Wi-Fi network from anywhere when you download the X5 app today.
Hurry into the Acura Season of Performance event going on now. This holiday, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the RDX. Hurry, this event won't last.
Alcohol dependency almost took my job and my family.
Mountain Vista Farm's secluded 8-acre retreat is the perfect setting to begin your recovery. Here, you'll find a relaxed, informal setting blended with a highly structured program of education, relapse prevention training, and support groups.
Mountain Vista Farm gave me back my life.
If you or someone you love needs help, call Mountain Vista Farm at 1-800-300-6716 today.
Hurry into the Acura Season of Performance event going on now. This holiday, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX. Hurry, this event won't last. Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Just announced, get $500 bonus cash on 8 models, including Tacoma, 4Runner, Highlander, and Corolla. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
'Tis the season for chilly weather. Time to grab that jacket.
And donate to one warm coat.
There are donation locations around the Bay Area.
To find one near you, visit KTVU.com and look for one warm coat.
Thanks for helping KTVU keep Bay Area families warm all winter long. And happy holidays from the KTVU Fox 2 weather team.
Throttling up. Astronauts from the United States, Canada, and Russia are on their way to the International Space Station. The Russian Soyuz spacecraft launched from Kazakhstan early this morning. This is the first space mission since an aborted mission less than 2 months ago. That crew saw its voyage to orbit cut short when the first stage of the rocket failed to separate properly. 2 astronauts landed safely on the ground.
Tensions continue to rise between Tehran and Washington after Iran test-fired a medium-range ballistic missile. The missile is capable of hitting all of the Middle East and parts of Europe. Western intelligence sources confirm the missile was the same version that Iran displayed during a military parade last September. The weekend test comes after U.S. Special Representative for Iran, Brian Hook, released evidence of Iran's ballistic program.
The Iranian threat is growing, and we are accumulating risk of escalation in the region if we fail to act.
A spokesperson for the Iranian Foreign Ministry said in a statement this missile test did not violate any UN resolutions and that it was defensive in nature.
The Prime Minister of France is meeting with political rivals today to try to ease tensions between the government and protesters. Nationwide protests have turned central Paris into a battle zone. This was the 3rd straight weekend protesters took to the streets. Demonstrators are upset over rising taxes and the high cost of living. On Saturday, riot officers responded with tear gas, stun grenades, and water cannons.
Some of the Central Americans in the migrant caravan camped out in Tijuana, Mexico, have launched a hunger strike. The migrants have been in Tijuana for weeks, waiting to be allowed to apply for asylum in the United States. They launched the hunger strike to call attention to their demands. An organizer explains the hunger strike will be limited to 4 days for each person taking part because of health concerns.
As a collective decided that 4 days is the max we want our folks to suffer. We don't want them to be put into danger, health-wise, especially after having gone through a month and a half, 2 months of traveling with malnutrition.
The Trump administration is in talks with the Mexican government about the situation at the border. President Trump wants the migrants to remain in Mexico while their asylum claims are processed. That process could take up to 6 months.
Former FBI Director James Comey says he will testify privately before a House committee this week. Now, as part of the deal with the House Judiciary Committee, Comey has been told that he's free to speak about the questioning afterward and that a transcript would be released 24 hours after he testifies. Comey is expected to be questioned about the decisions made by the FBI in 2016, including a call for no criminal charges against Hillary Clinton for her use of a private email server, and the FBI's investigation into Russia and President Trump's campaign.
Many state workers in Alaska are not at work today after Friday's major earthquake. State employees who live or work near where the earthquake hit have been told to stay home. The Glen Highway, which links Anchorage and its northern suburbs, has been reduced to a single lane as crews start roadway repairs. There have been nearly 200 aftershocks measuring 3.0 or higher since Friday, and the USGS says hundreds more could happen in the weeks ahead. There are no deaths or serious injuries reported from the quake.
The wife and daughter of Vice President Mike Pence are working on more stories about their family bunny, Marlon Bundo. They created the original book earlier this year, and that book, called A Day in the Life of the Vice President, turned into a bestseller. Well, now the publisher has signed the Pence team to 2 more books, which are both scheduled to be in stores next year. Some of the money raised will go to charities fighting against human trafficking and for art therapy. The original book spawned a gay-themed spin-off by the staff of HBO host John Oliver that sold hundreds of thousands of copies.
At 25 years, it's been 3 weeks since the devastating Camp Fire in Butte County, and the recovery really is just getting underway for thousands of people who were displaced from their homes. How children from the town of Paradise are being greeted as they head back to a classroom today.
4 days of honor for former President George H.W. Bush. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Houston. I'll have the latest coming up.
We are looking at a commute that is just very typical, slow traffic here and there. If you are driving in San Francisco, it does clear up just north of Cedar Chavez for the drive into downtown.
It's a chilly start to the morning. When I come back, we'll have a look at your current conditions, show you what you can expect for the afternoon, and I'm tracking rain and the extended forecast. More on this coming up.
Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Just announced, score 1,000 total cash back on Tacoma or choose 1,500 total cash back on 4Runner. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
Diamonds, the forever gift. The Jewelry Exchange has half-carat anniversary bands for $2.99, 1-carat 2-stone rings $9.90, 1.5-carat 3-stone rings $19.90, and 1-carat studs just $3.99. All guaranteed to appraise for double. The Jewelry Exchange, Redwood City.
Utah lives on mountain time. With 10 resorts less than an hour from the airport, mountain time means more time on the mountain. It means more time with the kids and more time away from the kids. Get more mountain time in Utah.
Cirque du Soleil invites you to find your free and venture into a captivating voyage of discovery where a surge of action sparks a high-voltage journey. Cirque du Soleil presents Volta, an energetic story of transformation inspired by the adventurous spirit of freedom. Now playing in San Francisco and opens February 13th in San Jose. This holiday, offer a gift that sparks emotions. Tickets at CirqueDuSoleil.com. Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Just announced, get 500 bonus cash on 8 models, including Tacoma, 4Runner, Highlander, and Corolla. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
There once was a child named Emma who was warm and happy, but that was a long, long time ago. Now, most of all, she misses listening to old Christmas records and sharing a meal with family. But all around the city, people are fighting to help folks just like Emma. And thanks to them, she will once again hear music at Christmas, feel the warmth of shelter, a good meal, and a little hope.
This portion of KTVU News is brought to you by Mazda. Feel alive. From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
8:28 here right now, live pictures in Houston, Texas. We can see the American flag waving as so many people are gathered at a private airfield. Air Force One is ready to take former President George H.W. Bush to Washington one last time. This is going to be the last time the president leaves Houston, which has been his home for so many years, along with the former First Lady Barbara Bush. They're leaving Houston to go to Washington. Once in Washington, the country's leaders will pay respect to the president. We are learning so much more about the final hours of the former president His final words, Mike, were, "I love you," to his son, George W. Bush. So again, we're going to bring in a live reporter here from Houston and bring you more on this, on the nation really coming out and saying thank you and goodbye to former President George H.W. Bush.
He served his country in the Navy. He loved politics and he loved baseball. Just a quick little story. He always, I guess, kept a mitt in the Oval Office in one of his drawers, and very passionate, obviously, about the game, but also passionate about his country, and he served his country well as the 41st president of the United States. Welcome back to Mornings on 2, everyone. Let's get you caught up on weather and traffic here. We'll start with Rosemary and the peak outside. It is a cool start out there.
Yes, that's definitely the headline this morning, just how chilly it is. Temperatures will climb as we get through the second part of the morning, but we're still going to remain cool. A lot of 40s out there at this hour, even 30s report in the inland areas over the North Bay. Santa Rosa still struggling at about 37 degrees. As we get through the second part of the day, temperatures will be on the cool side. The clouds will increase, and by tomorrow morning, Bay Area rain. Here's a look at SFO right now. San Francisco at 49 degrees. 47 in Oakland, Livermore at 43, and San Jose at 46. In the overnight hours, we have partly to mostly cloudy skies, and that actually helped to offset the cooling. So it could actually be a little bit worse had we not seen those clouds out there. You can see here from the 24-hour temperature change, we're up by 6 degrees in Oakland this morning, up by 7 in San Carlos, and up by 8 over Napa. So not even as cold as yesterday, but you will still need the jacket getting outdoors and bundle up the little ones as they head off to school. Here's a look at some of that cloud cover there. You can see the flow coming from the east. That will begin to switch around, and by tomorrow morning, a new storm moving through the Bay Area. Visibility hasn't been bad this morning. We're looking at 10 miles from the North Bay through the East Bay and down to the South Bay. And winds have been generally light. Calm reported SFO, Mountain View, Hayward, and Northeast breeze at about 9 miles per hour. Should remain generally light as we get into the afternoon. And here is a peek at the afternoon highs. 56 for San Francisco today, 57 in Hayward, 54 in Concord. Mid-50s expected for Napa with increasing clouds by tonight, rain by tomorrow. I'll have a look at the extended forecast in just a moment. 8:31, let's check the highways with Sal. Hi, Sal.
Good morning. Right now, we do have traffic that is still busy. I want to go right to the toll plaza because people do want to see what's going on here, and traffic is going to be a little bit slow. As you can see, it's backed up all the way out to the maze. Interstate 880 is also going to be slow this morning as you drive up to downtown Oakland, which is not surprising for this time of the morning. Southbound 880 is also going to be very slow. It's improved a little bit in Hayward, but it's still slow in Union City all the way down to Fremont. And this morning's commute is very slow in the South Bay. Now, let's go back to the desk.
Right now in Houston, Texas, the military send-off ceremony is about to get underway, honoring the late President George H.W. Bush before he's taken on Air Force One to Washington, D.C., where he is to lie in state at the U.S. Capitol. KTV's Lauren Blanchard live now in Houston. And Lauren, there's been an outpouring of support for the former president.
Garcia, that is exactly right. Just about an hour, less than an hour ago, the motorcade, the hearse carrying the flag-draped casket of George H.W. Bush, left the funeral home behind me here in Houston as it made its way towards Ellington Airfield. That is where Air Force One, now designated Special Air Mission 41, that is where that is waiting for this motorcade to arrive. It's carrying members of the Bush family as well as the casket of the former president, and it is expected, or it will be taking them all to Washington, D.C. for one last time. Now, this community, it was really remarkable to watch as this hearse, the casket was put in the hearse, as it left this area. There were people lined up on the road just outside of here taking photos, wanting to see this president, this great president who was here for this community, right in their eyes, because he was such a member of their community. They were waiting to see him as he left one last time from this funeral home, just watching that procession, watching that motorcade. There were, a few dozen folks lined up, kind of just watching this all very somberly. So it's been remarkable to be in Houston as all of this is happening, as folks have been reflecting on the life, the legacy of the late president. Many signs around town honoring the president. Even when you land at the airport, there are signs, saying goodbye, wishing the family well, thoughts and prayers, that kind of thing. Garcia?
Lauren, we can assume that the former president had time to perhaps plan some of how the country is going to take part in this goodbye. What do we know as to who's invited in Washington, D.C., and who might be speaking at his funeral.
Okay, Garcia, so today is the first of 4 days of remembrance. So today, the casket, the family will make their way towards Washington, D.C. There will be a ceremony at the Capitol that will invite a number of dignitaries, members of the Congress, all in the Capitol. Then he will lie in state between Monday night and Wednesday morning. That is when the public is welcome to come and pay their final respects. That'll be in the main area of the Capitol, right in the Rotunda. It's a tradition that goes back just decades, even hundreds of years back to Lincoln. Then Wednesday evening, there will be a state funeral at the National Cathedral. We do expect to see President Trump, as well as First Lady Melania Trump, as well as many other former presidents, many dignitaries, members of Congress, family, friends of the Bushes, people they have known throughout the years in so many different aspects of the late president's life. Then Wednesday night, Air Force One will bring the casket, the remains, back here to Houston. There will be a public viewing at the family's church here in Houston. The public here in Texas will be allowed to come in and see the president as he lies in repose. Then Thursday, that is when the final services will take place. Those are going to be private. There'll be a church service at the family's Episcopal Church here in Houston before the casket takes a train, actually named after the president, takes it to College Station. That is where the presidential library is. He'll be buried there alongside his wife, Barbara Bush, who died about 8 months ago, and their daughter, Robin, who died in 1953.
Lauren Blanchard in Houston, thank you. Let's give you another live look at that ceremony happening right now. The skies are clear and the sun is shining in Houston, Texas. In Houston, the former president was a huge presence. He dined at restaurants. He was out and about. Just recently, the day of the midterm elections, he had his favorite oyster stew at one of his favorite restaurants, and the restaurateur said that every time he came, he was more than happy to pose for pictures and selfies and sign autographs. He was a huge figure in Houston, and certainly now the country is coming to remember and honor former President George H.W. Bush. More live coverage throughout the day.
All right, we do have some breaking news to bring you about the Marriott hotel workers strike in San Francisco. A spokesperson for the Marriott International just confirmed to KTVU's Sarah Zenenam it has reached a tentative agreement with striking employees. The union just confirmed an agreement as well. We are told that the strike is essentially over now, but workers won't be back on the job now for a few days until they actually vote on this. They have been out there on the picket lines for 2 months now, asking for better pay, benefits, and job security.
San Francisco Mayor London Breed just put out a statement that reads in part, "In this time of rising inequality, it is crucial that our workers are able to earn a fair wage that allows them to live and support their families in the increasingly expensive Bay Area. I'm proud to have supported the workers as they fought for better wages, health care, and job security."
All right, here's a look down at some of the other top stories we are following for you on this Monday morning. The 2 defendants in Oakland's Ghost Ship warehouse fire are due in court today when a new judge is scheduled to be named in their criminal case. Derek Almena and Max Harris face 36 counts of involuntary manslaughter in connection to that warehouse fire 2 years ago. The civil lawsuit against the warehouse owner, the city of Oakland, and PG&E is not scheduled to start until next October. Oakland police are searching for the person behind a deadly shooting at a weekend party. Police say an 18-year-old man was shot and killed Saturday night in the rear of a home on 47th Avenue, just about a half mile from International Boulevard. Mohammed Suma argued with someone else at the party before he was shot. He died at the scene. No one else was hurt.
It's a back-to-school day for thousands of students from the town of Paradise who were displaced by the Camp Fire recently. KTV's Ali Rasmus joins us in studio. And Ali, the children are going back to class not in their old schools, but in different parts of Butte County.
Yes, and the reason is because the town of Paradise and other towns in that area still have a long way to go to rebuild after that devastating fire. 8 of the town's 9 public schools in Paradise were destroyed by the Camp Fire. Paradise High School survived, but it is still not safe for people to return to. So neighboring towns have stepped in to help students get back into their scholastic routines. Classes for Paradise School kids will begin today in several temporary locations in the towns of Durham, Oroville, and Chico. There are about 3,500 students in the Paradise Unified School District. There are also another 900 students who attended the 6 charter schools in Paradise. Those students were back in class for the first time in the past 3 weeks today. This is new video of their return this morning. You can see a lot of hugs and smiles exchanged as those students came back to class at 3 temporary school sites that have been set up for those charter schools in the town of Chico. Students homes in the campfire 3 weeks ago found a sense of relief and returning to some sense of normalcy.
Our house is gone, but our backyard is still there, and our chickens are alive. It's been a bumpy ride, but we have our family and we have everybody here, so we're doing good.
Now, those two sisters have an incredible story of survival to tell even before they lost their home in the campfire. Younger sister Mia went through a kidney transplant this summer. Her older sister was the donor. School administrators recognize that not all students will be returning today. The fire forced many families to relocate out of the area. Chico Unified School District reports that there are about 300 students from Paradise who have now enrolled in their public schools. Mike and Garcia.
Allie, thank you. Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf is speaking out about a recent report on the police department's use of force. A court-appointed monitor found evidence that officers pointed their guns at suspects or used force on them without reporting their actions as required. Earlier, right here on Mornings on 2, Mayor Schaaf said the department's credibility is very important.
And not only is it important that our public believes that we are being absolutely honest and transparent with all matters regarding our police department, but it's that data that we use to actually change our policies and evolve, because we would like to get to a place where we absolutely minimize any use of force.
The mayor also said a top-to-bottom audit of the OPD is already underway by the department. So far, it has found that the only non-reported uses of force were so-called level 4 incidents, such as when officers point their guns at a low angle toward suspects.
841 year Amazon may be expanding its grab-and-go shopping experience, but reports say the cashierless concept could soon be found at more stores.
Plus, we're almost a month away from the College Football Playoff National Championship game out at Levi's Stadium. Up next, the latest on the preparations and also the search for 1,000 volunteers.
The Passage, coming this January to Fox. This portion of KTBU News, sponsored by the Season of Audi sales event going on now.
Those who give their best deserve the best. Get up to $1,000 credit on select models now during the Season of Audi sales event.
Where can I get a new mattress?
Revive Sleep Center.
Wait, where?
Living spaces.
Do you have options? I need options.
We've got plenty of options.
Like Tempur-Pedic?
Yep. Beauty Rest? Yep.
Stearns & Foster?
And then some.
Do you have the ones that come in a box?
Yeah, we've got our own.
Can I order mine online?
Yep.
Can I try before I buy?
Yeah. Swing by our store and work with an expert.
Hi, how's it going? But are we really going to sleep better?
Well, you tell us. Buy your mattress today. Wake up Revive tomorrow.
Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Get the best deal of the year on Highlander. $2,500 total cash back. Hurry, every second counts. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
Tough Shed wants to help with your New Year's resolution. How would you like a home gym or office, maybe a studio, or just a secure space to help you get organized? Tough Shed makes it easy to customize sheds and garages, and will even deliver and install it for you this winter. With year-end savings, plus finance and rent-to-own options, Tough Shed can help resolve your budget too. Bring in the new year with Tough Shed. Stop in, dream and design a building online at toughshed.com, or call the store nearest you at 1-800-BUY-TOUGH.
Give a gift to the guy that gives you a route. Shop the holiday sale at Ben's Warehouse.
Now select suits are $199. Designer sport coats are $149, plus all dress shirts at $3 for $99.
He's gonna like the way he looks.
Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Just announced, get 500 bonus cash on 8 models, including Tacoma, 4Runner, Highlander, and Corolla. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
Share magical memories with friends and family at San Francisco Ballet's Nutcracker. For tickets, search or visit sfballet.org. Get up to $1,000 credit on select models now during the Season of Audi sales event.
The South Bay is preparing to be the epicenter of college football madness when it hosts the championship game next month. Ahead of that, the Bay Area Host Committee is putting out a call for volunteers. KTV South Bay reporter Jesse Gary joins us live from downtown San Jose with information, Jesse, on why people may want to sign up for this.
Michael, that is exactly right. Good morning to you. Happy Monday. We'll get to why people want to sign up in just a sec. But first, we finally know who is going to be in the college football playoffs. If we have that graphic, let's put it up. We've got Clemson versus Notre Dame. That's the first one. That's the first semifinal. And then OU takes on top-ranked Alabama. And then the big game is going to be here in, well, not here, but in Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. And, you know, what, we got 35 days left until the big game. We're all excited and ready to see what happens. I'm joined now by Patricia Ernstrom, who is Executive Director of the Host Committee. And so you're looking for volunteers. First, what kind of folks could come and volunteer, and then what would they do?
We would love to have community ambassadors, folks that really like telling the story of the Bay Area, that are enthusiastic about the Bay Area and this community, that can show the warm hospitality that we all know we have.
And what do they do once they're hospitable and they're out in the community? What kind of things will they do?
They'll help with wayfinding. They'll help us with certain events like the Playoff Fan Central, which is the Fan Fest. There will be activities in the parks. There's opportunity for hospitality and drivers. There are a variety of different roles that volunteers can play.
And so can anybody volunteer? Is there a minimum requirement? I'm guessing you have to be at least 18?
You have to be at least 18. And again, an enthusiastic and great attitude and warm, welcoming people is exactly what we're looking for.
The rumor has it that if you volunteer, there is a certain amount of swag, shall we say, that will fall your way.
Yes, it's very important. We want the volunteers to look the part. So we have actually...
Boy, it's almost like that was planned.
Yes, so this is our volunteer manager, Sheridan Spivey, and Sheridan today is modeling the jacket that volunteers will have. Sheridan?
Good morning, Sheridan.
Good morning. How's it going?
How does that jacket feel, by the way?
Pretty cozy. It's nice and fleece-lined. It's ready to weather the January here in the Bay Area.
Hopefully no rain.
Well, this is an all-weather jacket, and there are a variety of places that people can volunteer, but they're going to be well taken care of in this jacket. There are additional pieces, hats and beanies and scarves for people who volunteer for additional shifts. We're asking everybody to volunteer for at least 3 4-hour shifts, and then people can volunteer for extra shifts and get extra swag.
And to do this, what do I need to do? Come here, or how do I sign up?
You go online, so BayArea2019.com. And people can sign up to volunteer. It takes about 15 minutes to go through the process. We're looking for more than 1,000 volunteers throughout the Bay Area. So we hope that people sign up now. Within the next week is really our final push for getting volunteers.
All right, need 1,000 people in the next week.
Well, we have quite a few people signed up. So if people want to get in for the opportunity to volunteer, we want them to come to our website, hopefully today.
Ladies, thank you very much. Nice jacket.
Thank you.
All right. And the game, of course, is the 7th of January. Go OU. And we're live in downtown San Jose. Jesse Gary, KTVU, Fox News. We'll head back to you.
All right, Jesse, thank you. Want to take you back live to Houston, Texas right now. This is a live picture at an airfield where the flag-draped casket holding the 41st President of the United States, George H.W. Bush, is about to be carried onto Air Force One. That flight being given a special distinction, Special Air Mission 41. On that flight from Houston to Washington, D.C. Will be the 41st President's sons, George W. Bush, as well as Neil Bush and several grandchildren. The President will lie in state at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda until Wednesday morning so that the nation can say goodbye. He will be the 11th President to receive this rare form of a final tribute.
We'll have more coming up on the 9 from Houston and Washington, D.C. Right now, let's help you get out the door on this very busy Monday morning. Sal?
All right, right now we do have traffic that is still very heavy. In case you're just checking in, everything's about as you might expect on a Monday. Bay Bridge backed up for a 20 to 25-minute delay. 880 is jammed, not only on 880 here, but also 580 getting into Oakland. It's beginning to get a little better on 880 between Union City and Fremont. All the South Bay commutes are very slow. Let's bring in Rosemary now with today's weather.
Okay, temperatures slowly creeping upward. It's going to be a cool day outside our doors this morning. Near freezing for some. Temperatures are beginning to rebound, and you can see mostly cloudy skies from this picture here. San Francisco looking across the bay. Mostly cloudy skies actually helped us out in the overnight hours, helped to offset that cooling. But now with the cloudy conditions, it just feels cool out there. The next system rolls in on Tuesday, and that's when we're going to see some rain enter the Bay Area. It looks like as early as the Tuesday morning drive. The models here bringing in perhaps a few scattered showers in time for about 6, 7 o'clock. This could shift just a little bit, so we'll continue to track it for you between now and then. Your lunch hour looks fairly soggy tomorrow. And then as we get into the afternoon drive, perhaps even pockets of moderate rain before it winds down into Tuesday night. Could remain with the scatter showers over areas on Wednesday, and then we dry out on Thursday. There's a look at that cloud cover out there right now. Temperatures 37 degrees still at this hour in Santa Rosa, 47 in Oakland, 49 in San Francisco, 46 in the South Bay of San Jose. Your afternoon highs for today, mid to upper 50s expected. So another cool one around the Bay Area with increasing clouds. As we get into the extended forecast, notice that temperatures don't change a whole lot. As we get into the second part of the business week, we do begin to dry out. We're looking at Bay Area weekend of dry weather, cool weather for all those festivities. Mike?
All right, Rosemary, thank you. Still to come, Hunter Pence back on the field this week at AT&T Ballpark. Coming up on the 9, Pence and his wife Alexis join us live in the studio to talk about the Holiday Heroes event to help children in need.
The guys have a very public disagreement. That is it. You cannot blow up my head with your mind. Next, Big Fan.
Tonight at 7 and 7:30. Fox 2. Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Just announced. Get $1,500 cash back on Camry or get low 0.9% financing. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota. Let's go places.
To celebrate the Grinch movie, IHOP has all new Grinch pancakes, mint hot chocolate, and kids eat free from 4 to 10 p.m. Right, Mr. Grinch? Get IHOP's new Grinch pancakes and see the Grinch in theaters.
No one wants to hear fake news. Then why settle for fake furniture? Shop Who Judkins for solid wood furniture that's made to order. Start with our huge selection of solid wood bedroom sets, living room sets, bookcases, and more. Then choose your size, style, color, wood. The combinations are nearly endless. You can even get custom upholstery. See what's on sale now at WhoJudkins.com or stop by Who Judkins, the wise choice for real wood furniture.
See the Bronx Tale, the hit Broadway musical, right in your own neighborhood. It's Jersey Boys meets West Side Story. Now playing through December 23rd at the SHN Golden Gate Theater. Visit shnsf.com. Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Rush in for $2,500 cash back on RAV4 or choose 0% APR on RAV4 or RAV4 Hybrid. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota. Let's go places. On the next get me out of here!
He started it. Tuesday at 9 on KTVU Fox 2.
Back live now to Houston, Texas. The 41st President of the United States, George H.W. Bush's flag-draped casket being carried on the airfield and about to be loaded onto Air Force One. The former president will be flown to Washington, D.C. He will lie in state again at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda until Wednesday morning so that the nation can say goodbye. That will be followed by a funeral at Washington National Cathedral. Bush's will be the 4th state funeral be held there at the National Cathedral. More coverage right now for you online at KTVU.com. Meantime, Wall Street is celebrating encouraging words about trade talks with China. Let's bring in Pam Cook with this morning's Dollars and Cents. Pam.
Yes, good morning again. Basically, the trade talks will continue, but there is now an agreement between the U.S. and China to hold off on any new tariffs for 90 days to work things out. Now, that was definitely well received. When the opening bell rang this morning, the Dow shot up more than 300 points on optimism over the trade talks there. Taking a live look at the big board now, the numbers have come back quite a bit, but all three indexes still gaining ground today. There's a live look at the Dow Jones up more than 0.5%, 156 points to 25,690. 294. The S&P 500 up about 0.5% to 2775. And the NASDAQ still hanging on to more than 1 percentage gain, 74.05 there. Shell Oil is launching a new effort to cut carbon emissions. The company says it will set new carbon goals starting in 2020, and in an industry first, it plans to link executive pay to hitting those targets. The company has not announced what the specific carbon benchmarks would be. Some of the company's major shareholders, including the Church of England, have demanded that Shell do more to tackle emissions. And Amazon is testing its cashierless checkout technology in bigger stores. According to the Wall Street Journal, Amazon is experimenting with the technology in Seattle. The system tracks what shoppers pick from the shelves, charges them automatically when they leave the store, those Amazon Go stores. Analysts say the challenge will be a clear signal in the bigger spaces with higher ceilings and more products. But of course, since Amazon owns Whole Foods, talk is, will we see that technology in Whole Foods soon? We'll keep an eye on that. Mike?
All right, Pam, thank you. John Bon Jovi. Well, coming up on the 9 is Rose Rosé wine that is now being named the best of 2018.
Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Rush in for $2,500 cashback on RAV4 or choose 0% APR on RAV4 or RAV4 Hybrid. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
5,000 years of Chinese music and dance in one night.
I've never seen a production any better than this. Anywhere 5-star.
I was just blown away.
Coming to San Francisco, San Jose, and Berkeley.
I'm a family man. I'm a techie dad. I believe the best technology should feel effortless. Like magic. At Comcast, it's my job to develop apps and tools that simplify your experience. My name is Mike. I'm in product development at Comcast. We're working to make things simple, easy, and awesome.
San Jose, and San Francisco.
Hurry in for the final days of Toyota's Operation Black Friday sales event. Just announced. Get $1,500 cashback on Camry or get low 0.9% financing. Toyota's Operation Black Friday. Get here now. Toyota, let's go places.
We're kicking off the holidays with our biggest day of hot topics. Plus, make us your one-stop holiday shop.
Today at 10 on KGBU Fox 2.
There's a warning now for dog owners. A pet food recall to tell you about this morning. Sunshine Mills is recalling 3 brands of puppy and dog food products. The brands are Evolve, Sportsman's Pride, and Triumph. The company says it has potentially high levels of vitamin D, which could lead to serious health issues. The affected products have a best buy date code of November 1st through the 8th. Consumers can return bags of the recalled dog food to the store to get a refund. Starting today, the Santa Clara Central Park Library is the only Bay Area library where you can get some of your DMV business done. There's a self-serve kiosk where you can redo your car registration without having to deal with long lines at the DMV. Starting this afternoon, it'll be available anytime the library is open, and there's no extra charge to use the machine. You can use debit or credit card to pay your fees and have your registration cards and stickers printed right there. There are similar kiosks at 14 Safeway and Pack and Save stores across the Bay Area. The San Jose Earthquake's 3rd annual Winterfest brought thousands of people to Avaya Stadium, all for a very good cause. There was so much to do for children and their parents. The Earthquakes brought in inflatable toys and games yesterday and 20 tons of snow.
I love coming here for the soccer games, and I knew that they would throw a good event for the kids, and we're excited to be here.
Throwing snow at people and making snow angels.
Proceeds from wristband sales and concessions will help victims of the Camp Fire up in Butte County. engagement ring down at Times Square utility crane has been identified. John Drennan and Daniela Anthony of England were seen in surveillance video. Drennan proposed in Central Park, and the ring slips right off Anthony's finger and falls into the grate. After searching over the weekend, New York police were able to find the ring 8 feet underground. Police didn't know how to contact the couple, so they put out a social media message. Drennan saw it and tweeted the police yesterday, "I cannot thank you enough. You'll definitely get a mention at the wedding."
Today at 9, honoring President George H.W. Bush as his body is about to be flown from Houston to Washington, D.C., where he will lie in state.
And we're live in studio with former San Francisco Giants outfielder Hunter Pence and his wife Alexis as they are recognized for their work with children in need.
Plus, how 23andMe led a San Francisco woman to a reunion with her birth parents and half-siblings thousands of miles away.
Welcome to Mornings on 2. There is Air Force One, of course. It's going to transport the body of former President George H.W. Bush back to Washington, D.C., so the body can lie in state and people can pay tribute. Kasia and Mike, we saw quite a bunch of people come out, just kind of stand behind the ropes and just stand there and give tribute to the former president.
Houston is where the former president and the former First Lady Barbara Bush made their home for so many years. I lived in Houston many, many years ago. They were a presence in town. They were seen everywhere. And it's interesting because he's being remembered now, not just as a president, as a man and as a gentleman. And so many people are thinking about the letter that he left his successor, Bill Clinton. Of course, George H.W. Bush was a one-term president, and he left a letter on the desk at the Oval Office. And the letter read in part, "Your success is now our country's success. I am rooting for you hard." These words from an outgoing president to a successor, they didn't share a lot in the way of political views, Mike and Sal, but that tone of humility and civility, many people are remembering and honoring today.
It's very gracious. On board, as we're looking there at Air Force One, is his son, the 43rd President of the United States, George W. Bush, as well as his other son, Neil Bush, and several grandchildren, and also the story that we've heard over the weekend about his final words, specifically on the phone with the 43rd President of the United States. And he told his father, "You've been a wonderful dad." And in his final words, 41 says to him, "I love you too." So, good politician, loved baseball, as I mentioned earlier.
Captain of the Yale team.
Great grandfather, great father, and great husband. More now from Lauren Blanchard, who joins us live from Houston, Texas, with the details on the events planned for the rest of the week. Lauren?
Hi, Mike. Well, we are watching Air Force One, now designated Special Air Mission 41, of course, after George H.W. Bush, the 41st President of the United States. We just saw him, his casket loaded onto the plane, as well as members of his family, including George W. Bush, the 43rd President. They are headed towards Washington, D.C. That plane will land at Joint Base Andrews. As you can see from some of those videos we're looking at right now of the tarmac over at Ellington Airfield, there are people who are lined up watching the plane as it is getting ready to take off for that journey. Just one more time back towards the Beltway for the president, the late president, and his family in Washington, D.C. There are a number of events, but first today, what we're going to see is a ceremony in the Capitol for the 41st president. That'll include members of Congress, the Bush family, as they have a ceremony in the rotunda. Then the president will lie in state, essentially, for 35 plus hours during that time from Monday night to Wednesday morning. The public will be welcome to come and see the casket of the president draped in the U.S. flag. They'll have that time to pay their final respects. We are expecting thousands of people to turn out, those lines to be very, very long. Wednesday, the casket will be taken from the rotunda of the Capitol over to the National Cathedral, where there will be a state funeral. We've learned a bit about some of those who will be speaking at that funeral, including the president's son, the 43rd president, as well as three others who will also be speaking. And we expect to see the President Trump, the First Lady, also in attendance at the state funeral, possibly other former presidents, a number of dignitaries, members of Congress, family, friends of the Bushes throughout the years. Of course, the 41st president had such a long career, decades and decades of service to the country, not only in military service, but in a number of different government positions, of course, 2 terms as a vice president, and then 1 term as the commander-in-chief, the leader of the free world. So you can only imagine the type of people, the number of people who will want to be at that state funeral on Wednesday. We're still waiting for Air Force One, looking at it as it is still on that tarmac at Ellington Airfield. Once everything wraps up in D.C., the plane, Special Air Mission 41, as it's been formally designated for the next few days, it will bring the casket for 41 back here to Houston on Wednesday. There will be a public viewing at the family's home church here in Houston for the president. All Texans who want to come and say their final respects, they'll have the chance to do so Wednesday night into Thursday. And then Thursday is when the services become private. So there will be a private funeral service at that family church for the late president. Of course, that will just be family and friends. We don't have a full list of everyone who will be in attendance at that ceremony. But then Thursday afternoon, there will be a train named after George H.W. Bush that will take him from this area up towards College Station, Texas, which is where Texas A&M University is, and that's also where the George H.W. Bush Presidential Library is, and that is where George H.W. Bush will be laid to rest next to his wife, Barbara Bush, who died about 8 months ago, as well as their late daughter, Robin, who died in 1953. Mike?
All right, Lauren Blanchard, live for us there in Houston, Texas. Lauren, thank you.
9:06 happening right now. Derek Almena and Max Harris, the 2 men prosecutors say are responsible for the deadly ghost ship warehouse fire in Oakland that killed 36 people, are set to appear in court. We'll bring in KTVU's Sarah Zendenal live at the Alameda County Courthouse in Oakland. Leah, what's expected to happen today, Sarah?
Yeah, the hearing was set to start at 9 o'clock. It's now about 9:06. So we're waiting for details on what exactly is going inside the courtroom right now. But what we expect to happen today is that a judge will be assigned to the co-defendants. Now, we are waiting to hear some more details on that. But what we do know is that their trial could start in the spring. Now, of course, both Derek Almena and Max Harris were both charged with 36 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Prosecutors say the pair created fire trap conditions that led to the deaths of 36 people inside the ghost ship warehouse on December 2nd, 2016. Now, the original plea deal Almena and Harris took for their roles in the deadly fire was rejected by a judge in August. That plea deal would have put Almena behind bars for 9 years and Harris for 6. Last month, another judge rejected a bid by Almena to reinstate the plea deal. Sunday marked 2 years since the fire. Victims' families say they've dealt with so much in that time.
We're being given a life sentence of pain, okay? The void that is in our heart can never be replaced because of what happened here.
Now we have crime reporter Henry Lee inside the courtroom right now. So like I said, we are waiting for those details to come out about exactly what happened at that hearing. What we do know is the civil trial, that's scheduled to begin in October of next year. In Oakland this morning, Sarah Zendenal, KTVU Fox 2 News.
Antioch police are looking for a hit-and-run driver who hit a woman in a wheelchair. She was hit early yesterday morning while crossing Lone Tree Way right near Clearbrook Road. Photos from the East County Today website show the wheelchair badly damaged. A case of red lipstick, a shoe, and a purse were also found near the chair. A man told us he helped a woman in a wheelchair in that general area on Friday night, and he thinks it could be the same person.
She was on the street and she was having trouble getting up on the sidewalk with her chair. The pictures that you showed me, it looks like her wheelchair and her belongings.
He told us what he remembered most about the woman was about that bright red lipstick. Police are not identifying the woman, but say she is 65 years old and lives in Discovery Bay. East County Today reports she is in the hospital in critical condition.
Back now to Houston, Texas, where a plane that's going to be carrying former President George H.W. Bush is about to take off, as we can see, heading from Houston, which was the former president's home for so long, to Washington, D.C., where the country will come together for services, mourning and honoring the late president. Houston is where so many people felt that the former president was their neighbor. He was out and about at town, at restaurants and sporting events. Now with this move aboard Air Force One to Washington, D.C., it really does become a country's remembering of a man who is being honored, Mike, as you said, as a father, a grandfather, and a great-grandfather, honored for his military service and his 4 years as president in the White House. It's interesting. We talked a moment ago about that letter that the former president left for his successor, Bill Clinton, saying, you know, we were at political odds, but I am rooting for you hard now. You can understand that the former president had time to think about how he wanted to be remembered upon his death. And he made a point of saying that, yes, I want President Trump to come to my funeral. So we do know President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump are, in fact, going to be at the service there in Washington.
All those people, I'm assuming that all those people came out to watch the plane take off. I wanted to ask Lauren, didn't get a chance to, if all those people are just citizens who came out just to watch this. There's the plane, the 747 Air Force One, going down the taxiway, going to make the turn, and then take off on its way to Washington, D.C.
And that flight being redesignated as Special Air Force 41. You know, you talk about the former president being the 41st president of the United States, but he was also a pretty good vice president under Ronald Reagan for 8 years. He doesn't get a lot of credit for that. And, you know, vice presidents don't get talked about that much, but he was a vice president for 8 years, who then ran for the presidency and won. You know, in the last hour I talked about him always keeping a mitt in the Oval Office, specifically inside a drawer. I didn't know that, just I was reading up on some of the stories about him over the weekend. And, you know, he played baseball, you know, when he was at Yale. And pretty good ball player there. And he always had a passion for the game, you know, after college. And as you can tell by keeping the mitt in his drawer inside the Oval Office, he loved the game. He loved sports, but he loved baseball.
There's a special, there's a picture of him as the captain of the Yale baseball team meeting Babe Ruth, which was, you know, says a lot. The players made him the captain of the team, and he has that now famous picture of him meeting Babe Ruth.
We'll have more on the life and the legacy of George H.W. Bush, certainly throughout the day here and throughout the week. Let's talk about what's happening just to the north of the Bay Area now. Some areas of Butte County that had been off limits because of the Camp Fire will once again be open to the public. That's beginning at noon today. People who live in parts of Magalia and Concow were allowed in first, beginning at noon yesterday. They had to show ID and proof of residency to be allowed into the area. Many, though, found that there's nothing left where their homes once stood.
I've been in the Paradise area since I was 4. So it's not just losing a house, it's losing my community.
Authorities say traffic still is not being allowed into Paradise, which is the hardest hit town. Meanwhile, today, students from schools that were destroyed in the Camp Fire are heading back to class. But in other schools in different parts of Butte County, 8 of the 9 public schools in Paradise were destroyed by the Camp Fire. Arrangements have been made to keep students and teachers together. Classes for Paradise School children will begin today in a number of temporary locations in the towns of Durham, Oroville, and Chico. We're going to bring in KTV's Ali Rasmus coming up at 9:30 with what's happening on students and this big return to routine for them today.
Coming up on Mornings on 2 to 9, DNA tests reuniting people with family members they didn't know they had. Up next, a story of the San Francisco woman whose 23andMe test led her to her biological parents and half-siblings.
Hurry into the Acura season of performance event going on now. This holiday, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the RDX. Hurry, this event won't last.
The holiday season is upon us once again, and as soon as you get through paying that peak summer electric bill, now the holiday lights go up and we're right back to paying huge utility bills. Well, why not let Solar for America give you a holiday hiatus from your expenses by paying your electric bill for the next 6 months? That's right, Solar for America will pay your electric bill up to $1,000 when you go solar. Plus, buy any of our 50-year roofs with a solar system and receive an additional discount of up to $1,500 off. Save all that money, and with your good credit, take advantage of exceptional same as cash financing, so you don't have to make a payment until 2020. Go ahead, put up the extra lights on that house, because with a new solar system from Solar for America, you'll never see a high electric bill again. Just call 888-857-8086. That's 888-857-8086. Or solar4america.com. 888-857-8086.
Hurry into the
selection of solid wood bedroom sets, living room sets, bookcases, and more. Then choose your size, style, color, wood. The combinations are nearly endless. You can even get custom upholstery. See what's on sale now at WhoJudkins.com or stop by Who Judkins, the wise choice for real wood furniture.
Are those hot chocolate packets sugar bombs? All nuanced. Today at 1.
A nice strong start to the markets for this week. Wall Street making some big gains following similar moves by overseas markets after the U.S. and China struck a 90-day truce on their trade dispute. At one point today, the Dow was up by more than 400 points. We're at about half that, but still a gain of 0.75% is not bad at all. We see a similar percentage gain over on the S&P. The tech-heavy NASDAQ is up by just more than 1 full percent.
All right, I was going to look at my stocks, but we'll do that when I'll do that during weather.
Okay.
See how they're doing, all right? Let's bring in Rosemary Orozco, who is doing our weather. It's cold out there, Ro.
You're right. It is a chilly one, and all this cloud cover out there at this point isn't really going to help us out as we get into the afternoon. Temperatures will continue to struggle in the 50s. It was actually the cloud cover that helped us early this morning to offset some of that cold air. So even though we are very cool out there, temperatures are actually a little bit warmer than where we were yesterday at this hour. Giving you a view here at some of the winds. It's a bearable wind. We've got an east breeze at 10 miles per hour for Napa. A southerly breeze in Novato as a reported calm at the moment. Northeast over areas of Fairfield. This will begin to switch around as we get into your Bay Area Tuesday. The onshore breeze is back, and so is the rain. 49 degrees right now in San Francisco, 49 in Oakland, and as we head into the North Bay, 40 degrees in Santa Rosa, still trailing behind a little bit. But Santa Rosa started in the mid to upper 30s this morning, so an improvement for you there as well. 46 in Livermore. As we get into the afternoon, partly sunny skies turning mostly cloudy, and you're going to notice that the clouds begin to thicken up as we get into the second part of the day. 57 in Oakland, 56 in San Francisco today, 57 in Redwood City. So a partly cloudy to mostly cloudy, cool day in store. But today we're dry. The rain moves in tomorrow. Could actually move in early on. Sal may be tracking some of that for your morning drive. We'll be tracking it here as well with Steve Paulson. Scatter showers in the forecast on Wednesday. Slight chance on Thursday before we dry out. And then in time for your Bay Area weekend, for all those festivities, maybe some holiday shopping, dry, cool conditions. Back to you.
All right, Rosemary, thank you. We hope you will be able to help Bay Area families bundle up this winter by participating in the annual One Warm Coat Drive. You can donate new or gently used coats for people in need. KTVU is a proud media sponsor of One Warm Coat. The national nonprofit is now in its 16th year and collects tens of thousands of coats annually. The One Warm Coat Drive goes until December 31st and has drop-off locations in Emeryville, Walnut Creek, San Jose, and Oakland, as well as participating UPS and Big O Tire stores. Go to KTV.com for a full list of locations.
A San Francisco woman says a 23andMe test helped her find her birth parents and half-brothers and sisters thousands of miles away. KTVU's Paul Chambers has her story about the happy reunion that happened more than a decade after she sent in her DNA.
A chance meeting on the 23andMe DNA genetic testing website forever changed Tracy DeLuca's life.
Hey Tracy, this is Jim, Alex's father. I'm like, who's Alex? Who's Jim? I don't know you people.
Born to teenage parents, DeLuca was put up for adoption. Something that wasn't a secret. She says she was always curious to find her birth parents.
My birth certificate was sealed, so I didn't actually have any information to go off of to do a search. So this was the easiest way to kind of get to the information.
In 2007, she gave her DNA to 23andMe.
I spit in the cup and sent it off and waited.
She waited and waited. With a few hits, but nothing major. That is until June of this year. 11 years after joining, DeLuca was matched with someone who she shared a little more than 6% DNA.
I'm not really sure what compelled me to finally go back and look again. And then when I did, I saw that I had I think it was a second cousin match.
That cousin was only 12 years old. And the boy's father reached out to DeLuca, thinking maybe she was related on his wife's side. Instead, it turned out he and DeLuca are family.
He didn't know about me. He never knew that his aunt had had a baby.
4 days later, the story unfolded.
He says, you have two brothers, and I've spoken with the oldest one, and he would like to talk to you.
In August, DeLuca flew back to Ohio to meet her birth mother and two new brothers.
When we pulled in the driveway, she slammed the door shut on everybody else, and she's like, this is my moment. It's just me and her.
One piece of the puzzle solved,
DeLuca then learned her birth father also lived in Ohio 4 hours away. But this wasn't a big mystery. Since she knew he was around, they just never connected.
He released his information to me saying he was open to being contacted, but that was like 20 years ago.
By the end of August, DeLuca flew to Ohio yet again, this time to meet her birth father and his 2 other daughters, one of whom was getting married. For the first time in her life, and with the revelation she has 2 new families, DeLuca is the oldest child, and this new discovery means a lot to the man and woman who raised her since she was 2 months old.
They're much older, and so they were like, we've always worried that when we pass on, you know, we wanted there to be other people there to love you.
And thanks to her DNA match, she has many people to love. Paul Chambers, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
On KTVU.com, you can find more stories like Tracy's. It's all part of our Strands of Truth half-hour special, all about DNA genetic testing.
Musician John Bon Jovi can add another award to his trophy case, but this one is for offstage work. Wine Spectator just named his Hampton Water wine as the top rosé for this year. It was one of just 2 rosés to make the list of top 100 wines for the year. Last year's vintage sold out before it was even officially released. Hampton Water is sold in 15 countries, including here in the U.S., where it goes for $25 a bottle.
All right, coming up next right here on Mornings on 2 the 9, an art project to remember Oscar Grant 10 years after his death. Up next, the piece is being put together as his family works to make sure his story is never forgotten.
All week, we're helping you score the best shopping deals in town. We're on Lane, plus Nazami and Mandy.
Today at 11 on KTVU Fox 2.
California Phones offers free specialized phones like cordless phones, big button and volume enhanced phones. Get details on this state program. Call 1-800-330-5100 or visit californiaphones.org.
Maybe you're with the family you've got, or maybe the one you've chosen. Our holidays don't all look the same. And maybe that's what makes us great. Make the dream yours. IKEA.
Life can change in an instant. Be covered when it does with a health plan through Covered California. We offer free expert help choosing the best plan for you, and all of our plans include free preventive care. Financial help is available, so check for yourself to see what savings you qualify for. For health insurance starting January 1st, enroll by December 15th. Because you never know when life will change. Get covered today.
Turn the kitchen you have into the kitchen you love. The American Kitchen Company is your leading expert in residential remodel. From custom kitchens to beautiful bathrooms, our team will listen to your needs and transform your home. Visit AmericanKitchenCompany.com.
Now California Phones offers free devices and accessories for your mobile phone, like this device to increase volume on your cell phone. Get details on this state program. Call 1-800-330-5100 or visit californiaphones.org.
We can destroy Lucius Lyon.
Fox Wednesday is the Empire Fall finale.
This is my reputation.
Lucius, he's just young.
Lucius. Do you want to tell them or should I?
Empire.
Wednesday at 8 on KTVU Fox 2.
New details are emerging about the deadly shooting rampage at a veterans facility in Yountville back in March. The Press Democrat reports a CHP investigation shows the gunman had planned this attack for weeks. He visited the veterans home of California on the day before the attack. Investigators say he propped open a basement door, which he could pass through the next day during the attack. He also bought a number of guns leading up to the shooting spree. 3 women who worked at the facility were killed. The gunman then took his own life. Authorities say he had been a patient there for nearly a year.
It's been nearly 10 years since Spark Police shot and killed 22-year-old Oscar Grant at the Fruitvale station. KTVU's Alyssa Harrington reports on how friends and family are now honoring Grant through art.
Cephas Johnson, also known as Uncle Bobby, shows us the spot where a mural will be created at Fruitvale Station to honor his late nephew, Oscar Grant. It's in the same place where every year hundreds of people meet to light candles and mark the day of his death. This year they hope to unveil the artwork on that day, January 1st.
I definitely hope this mural looks like Oscar and the love that he gave to people.
Johnson says the final design has not been decided. BART officials agreed to commission the art even though it was one of their officers who shot and killed Grant.
It's an extension of love and appreciation, not appreciation, but an atonement.
The case still strikes a nerve with BART riders.
I was very uncomfortable to ride BART for a while after that. I felt like I wasn't safe.
The San Francisco Chronicle reports BART signed a $30,000 contract with muralist Rifa One. Many of their works are seen around Oakland, like this one honoring the Black Panthers. The Grant family is also determined to have the station renamed to Grant Fruitvale Station and a nearby street named in Grant's honor as well. This chip in the platform marks the spot where the bullet passed through Grant's back. His family says people come from all over looking for this spot, and they'd like to see a plaque in its place.
Something representing this sacred spot to never be forgotten, because there was a young man who actually lost his life right here.
Johnson says both the city and BART are not on board with those ideas at the moment. People I talked to say a mural is the least that can be done to honor Grant.
I think, it took a little bit too long for it to happen.
I think it's a good thing. It's a positive thing. And there's still a problem with the violence around BART.
Alyssa Harrington, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf is speaking out about a recent report on the police department's use of force. A court-appointed monitor found evidence that officers pointed their guns at suspects or used force on suspects without reporting their actions as required. I hope you're with us when on Mornings on 2 in the 7 o'clock hour, Mayor Schaaf joined us in studio and said the department has changed some of its policies because credibility is very important.
And not only is it important that our public believes that we are being absolutely honest and transparent with all matters regarding our police department, but it's that data that we use to actually change our policies and evolve, because we would like to get to a place where we absolutely minimize any use of force.
The mayor also said a top-to-bottom audit of OPD is already underway by the department. So far, it's found that the only non-reported uses of force were so-called level 4 incidents, such as when officers pointed their guns at a low angle towards suspects.
All right, coming up next right here on Mornings on 2 to 9, connecting with the community. Up next, the lip sync video produced by a Bay Area Police Department that's now going viral.
And up next, we are live with former Giants outfielder Hunter Pence and his wife Alexis about the inspirational award they are receiving for their work helping children in need.
If you've been injured in an accident, choosing the right law firm is critical. Choose a law firm with the experience and success
to help you get the best result possible. Injured? Call the Barnes firm now.
Every time I start it up, it's like a...
It's just your starter. No biggie.
November 1st through December 31st, get up to a $200 Visa prepaid card by mail when you purchase $1,000 or more with your AMCO credit card.
It's big. Quickly reconnects families. Same with Aladdin, the biggest in bail. No one has lower prices, is faster, or more professional. Aladdin Bail Bonds. Bigger because we're better.
From the moment they're born, their brains develop at fantastic speeds. Neurons connect by the millions, and their brains grow stronger. You can help fuel this growth with the sights and sounds of words and song. So talk with them. Read with them.
Can we read you this book?
Sing with them. Begin the moment they're born. Learn more at first5california.com.
Injured in a car accident? You probably have questions. Who will pay my medical bills? Do I need a lawyer?
Call the Barnes firm now to get the answers and the help you need.
Tough day at school. We served Brussels sprouts for lunch today. First time we talked about it out loud. Can't keep things like that bottled up. Yeah, well, my book report went completely off the rails. And I got tricked into trading my PB&J for a vegan brownie. Let that sink in. My day was terrible too. And it just got worse.
Milk, because being a kid is tough.
Thank you for watching KTVU Fox 2.
Where the power of 2 comes from you.
Right now, the late president, aged W. Bush is on his final trip to Washington, D.C. on Air Force One, surrounded by his family. The former president's flag-draped casket left just a short time ago after a military send-off in Houston. When the former president arrives in Washington, D.C., he will lie in state at the U.S. Capitol. Longtime friend James Baker was with him at the end and remembers his last words to his son and fellow former president.
And he said those words to 43, President George Bush 43, who had called in to say, Dad, I love you. I will see you on the other side. And President Bush said, I love you. And those were his last words.
A Bush family spokesman posted this photo showing the president's service dog Sully still by his side this past weekend. The former president will lie in stay again at the rotunda of the U.S. Capitol from tonight through Wednesday morning. The state funeral will be held Wednesday at the National Cathedral in D.C. Following the service, he will be flown back to Houston, where another public viewing will be held. Then on Thursday, he will be laid to rest in College Station, Texas, in the family plot near his wife Barbara, who died earlier this year.
Today, thousands of students in the town of Paradise who were displaced by the Camp Fire are back in school. KTV's Allie Rasmus here now to explain why the students, Allie, are going back to class in different parts of the county.
Yeah, students are heading back to class in some new temporary sites in other parts of Butte County because many of the schools in the town of Paradise burned down in the Camp Fire. There were 9 schools in the Paradise Unified School District. The Camp Fire destroyed 8 of them more than 3 weeks ago. Paradise High School survived, but it is still not safe for people to return to. So neighboring towns have stepped in to help students get back into their routines. Classes for Paradise school kids will begin today in several temporary locations in the towns of Durham, Oroville, and Chico. There are about 3,500 students in the Paradise Unified School District. There are also another 900 students who attend the 6 charter schools in Paradise. They were back in class today. This is video of their arrival this morning as teachers, students, and staff members exchanged many hugs and smiles as they opened their doors. There are 3 temporary sites set up in Chico for those 6 charter school students. Now, students and families who lost their homes in the Camp Fire 3 weeks ago found a sense of relief and the idea of getting back into their school routine.
I'm super excited to go back. For all of us, it's one step towards normal and our new normal.
I lost my home, and pretty much all of our students, except about 7 of the 156, lost their homes. And so it's a different world for them and for us.
Now, the Butte County Office of Education is holding a news conference about to get underway right now. We're expecting to learn more about how many students will be returning. Of course, some families have been forced to relocate out of the area, but they're also going to be talking about the adjustments that school districts throughout the county will be making to help those students from Paradise, Magalia, and other places get back on track emotionally and academically. Garcia, Sal, and Mike, back to you guys.
Thank you, Allie. For more on some of the other headlines we have been working on, let's go to Dave Clark.
Sal, thank you. Here are some of the top stories we're following this morning. San Francisco police now confirming there was a deadly shooting early this morning in the Mission District. Police say around 1 o'clock this morning, they were called about a shot spotter activation near 16th Street in Valencia. They found a man and a woman who'd been shot. They were taken to the hospital. The man died. The woman has life-threatening injuries. The investigation continues. Also, a tentative deal has just been reached in San Francisco between Marriott Hotels and 2,500 of its striking employees. Workers have been on the picket lines for 2 months asking for better pay, benefits, and job security. They're expected to be back at work Wednesday after a formal vote on the agreement. The contract will last through 2022. The details will come out after it's ratified. In Alaska, many state workers there are having an extended weekend after Friday's huge earthquake. State employees who live or work near where the quake hit, they've been told to stay home today. The Glen Highway, which connects Anchorage and the northern suburbs, was reduced to 1 lane as workers start repairing roads. There have been almost 200 aftershocks since Friday, but no deaths or serious injuries have been reported. And that's a look at just some of the top stories we're working on.
Dave, thank you. All this month, KTVU is highlighting stories that bring out the good in the Bay Area. In Concord, community members challenged the police department to a lip-sync video. This is the result, and it's getting an awful lot of attention. As KTV's Christina Rendon reports, this was more than just making a video. It was about connecting with the community.
You might have seen these before, but this latest lip sync video from Concord PD is to a Spanish-English song featuring officers and members of the public, kids to seniors.
We wanted a video that was more representative of what we do every day. We're out there with the people.
The song Bailando by Enrique Iglesias isn't a coincidence. 25% of Concord's population is Latino. The three officers featured, Sergeant Carl Cruz, Sergeant Kyle Colvin, and Sergeant Robert Garcia, are bilingual.
We have a lot of Spanish-speaking officers. We have a large Spanish-speaking population. So why not?
We are people too. That we also have a stake in this community that we work in, that we care for the people that live here.
Anything that we can do to engage with our community, to kind of take away those barriers in between the police and the people that we serve, I'm all for it.
The department works closely with the Monument Crisis Center, a community-based nonprofit family resource center. Officers immediately ask their clients to join.
We work with some of the toughest issues that you can imagine, and so having something fun, just like for the officers, they see the tough side of life. It's a real lift for the community and a lift to all of us.
We're often asked what it means to be a police officer.
There was a special premiere of the video at a movie theater in Concord.
We had all the kids sitting in the big cushy seats at the movie theater, and one of the parents said to us, you know, thank you for giving our children these kinds of experiences. And I think that alone was really worth the whole experience.
Nos sentíamos felices hasta salir. Carmen Wong says she left the theater still dancing. And Mary Gutierrez says her grandson now wants to be a police officer. The video is connecting, showing officers are more than the badge they wear.
What I want the takeaway to be is that you can come talk to us. When you see me on the street, you can come and go, hey, I know him. He was Bailando. And you can come talk to me. And that's what I want.
In Concord, Christina Rendon, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
If you'd like to nominate someone for Bay Area People, go to KTVU.com, look for the Bay Area People tab. Meanwhile, a New York Police Department lieutenant is using his skills as a DJ to inspire children and young DJs. That's Lieutenant Rhodes. He's also known as DJ Ace. He says most people who hear his music say they can't believe he's a police officer. His passion for DJing started at a young age.
When I was about 10 years old, there was a movie, Beach Street, also the group Run DMC and the group UTFO. The DJs out of those groups, Jam Master J and Mixmaster Ice, they got me wanting to be a scratch DJ.
I definitely feel that he's a very good inspiration to me, just personally because I don't use vinyl, and he makes you want to try vinyl out. I've never tried it.
Earlier this month, DJ Ace was behind the turntable spinning at the 5th annual Cops vs. Kids DJ Battle, which is part of the NYPD's Community Policing Outreach Program.
Tomorrow night, the 9th annual Holiday Heroes fundraiser is being held out at AT&T Ballpark to help children in need and their families.
And this year, receiving the Inspirational Award for their work to end childhood hunger is former Giants outfielder Hunter Pence and his wife Alexis.
Hunter and Alexis join us live in studio this morning. Thank you both for coming in. Appreciate it. Hunter, obviously you play with a lot of passion, but you have passion for ending childhood hunger. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, so this year we had a goal of raising $100,000 for No Kid Hungry. And, you know, I think I got to give a big thanks to Alexis, my wife, for spearheading this. She gets to put in a lot of the organization so that we can show up and back it. And it's a lot of that work on the social media to push, and a lot of fans that have backed it up and supported it here in the Bay Area. And, you know, it's just great to be a part of such a great organization that's just trying to end childhood hunger and give kids an opportunity to get the meals in the morning that they don't necessarily have and help them focus throughout their day.
Yeah. Lexi, you've been doing this too. You guys have been doing something or another for the community almost since the very beginning. What drives you to want to give back?
I mean, we're so lucky. We're so lucky to be in a position that we're able to, and we just love our community. We love people, and if we can't give back, you know, what are we doing?
Well, the community helped find your scooter, remember?
Yes.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Yes.
That was so awesome.
The community definitely supports us, and we've been very fortunate to have such a wonderful city to play in, and just support for the Giants, support for the players here, and it's been just unbelievable. And yes, it's very important that we get the opportunity to give back and to get out and get active out there. So we love it here, and we love being a part.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't do enough. You know, so busy in their day-to-day lives, whatever the reason may be. Why do you think people aren't focused on maybe ending childhood hunger? And what do you say to them?
Oh, I mean, that's a personal, if it's not childhood hunger, I'm sure there's probably something else that, pulls at their heartstrings. But for us, childhood hunger is it's important to us because we love kids. Helping support kids just brings out the kid in us, seeing them happy, enjoying stuff. We love everything like video games, playing board games, anything childlike. I mean, we're very playful, so it's important to us that we give kids the same opportunity to go up in school and not have to worry about being hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about the Giants and your time here? I remember when you came aboard, and you've always been the guy. You're the guy who did the sunflower seeds, and I have a picture of that from that legendary run. Obviously, that's going to be something that you're never going to forget that season.
Absolutely not. And honestly, for everyone to jump on board, I remember in 2012, Terrio had a joke of spilling sunflower seeds over everyone. He was really good at keeping it light. And I'm a little bit crazy, and I like to believe in the mental side of things and believing things before they become so. And I remember telling Terry, I was like, hey, let's take your sunflower seed to a next level. Let's create a parade before there is a parade. Let's start having a parade before every game. Throw the sunflower seeds everywhere, just like it's a parade. And it turned into this whole thing where we started having a mosh pit. We were throwing candy and cookies and everything. And sure enough,
because I think the best team on paper doesn't always win. I think the team that's gelling the best at the right time is the one that wins.
Sure,
and maybe that's one of the reasons why. I mean, you might even be able to take credit for that.
I definitely think you're right. I think it's the team that comes the closest together, that buys into each other's shenanigans, whether it's a weird sunflower seed parade. Half the time if you bring that up, everyone's like, no, we're not doing it. But everyone bought in. We all loved each other, enjoyed each other. And I think that chemistry and that tightness, it definitely goes a long way.
Is that what you love about Hunter?
Oh, yeah.
What made you fall over them?
Yeah. His sunflower seeds now. Like I said, he's just so playful and he's goofy, and we have so much in common. We play a ton of games together. We love helping people, and we just have fun together, and that was for me.
You guys are good on social media, by the way.
Are we?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now that maybe you're moving on, you're going to move on from baseball at some point. You have a career in something else.
Maybe not. What do you want to do? I mean, training's going to be around the corner.
I've been training since 2 days after, working on revamping and just reinventing myself, switching to this whole new swing path, and been training with a famous hitting guy, Doug Lott, of the Ball Yard. He's turned a lot of careers around, and then also Marlon Byrd. Heading actually on December 5th out to Dominican Republic to play winter ball, to try to implement some of the new changes, and looking to play again next year.
Say hi to Johnny Cueto.
Casilla, a lot of my buddies out there.
The playing days are not over for you. You're going to go to a camp.
I'm at least going to the Dominican Republic to play winter ball. So from there, we'll see how all these adjustments go, and going to get everything I can to be able to contribute. And I still love it. I still love to play, and I still feel good. So
that's good news.
Do you have a favorite moment as a Giant?
I have a lot of favorite moments, but I think the immediate one that comes to my mind is Game 6 against the Cardinals in 2012 with Ryan Vogelsong pitching. We had just come back. We were down 3-2, and the sun was coming down. It was like the craziest color of pink, purple, and blue, and the fans were chanting Vokey and shaking the fence so bad that I think they knocked the fence down behind me. And it was just like you could feel the momentum. We felt it from the plane ride back, and just Vokey, Vokey, and they were just tearing it down. It was just an absolute madhouse.
I remember that last game against the Cardinals in the pouring rain. I was in the bleachers out there, behaving myself, but enjoying it. It was a very memorable game. Thank you both for what you do. We appreciate it. We have put more information about tomorrow's event and the No Kid Hungry Foundation on our website at ktvu.com. Look for it in the web link section under the Mornings on 2 tab. You can also find it on the KTVU mobile app. A pleasure to have you guys in, and have a great time tomorrow.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, Gassia.
Coming up in a second on Mornings on 2 to 9, a newly engaged couple loses their ring in the middle of Times Square. How police officers were able to find the ring and the couple. Plus.
And it may be cold outside, but the Museum of Ice Cream promises to warm you up with some holiday cheer in their new holiday exhibit, Pinkmas. More on that coming up.
packaged grocery store nuts. Just how healthy are they? All new Oz.
Today at 1 on KTVU Fox 2.
Okay, everybody, let's do the numbers. Bkhhkhky Casino Resort has over 1,700 penny machines, and we pay 3 to 2 on blackjack. It all adds up to big fun at Bkhhkhky Casino Resort. Play here, play the best. Bkhhkhky Holiday Jeeps and Cash through January 1st, with Jeep winners every Saturday and Sunday. And in the spirit of the season, we'll give away Jeeps on Christmas Eve, Christmas, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. Holiday Jeeps and Cash, only at Bkhhkhky.
The day after chemo shouldn't mean going back to the doctor just for a shot. With Neulasta Onpro, patients get their day back. To be with family, or just to sleep in. Strong chemo can put you at risk of serious infection. In a key study, Neulasta reduced the risk of infection from 17% to 1%, a 94% decrease. Neulasta Onpro is designed to deliver Neulasta the day after chemo and is used by most patients today.
Neulasta is for certain cancer patients receiving strong chemotherapy. Do not take Neulasta if you're allergic to it, or Neupogen, filgrastim. An incomplete dose could increase infection risk. Ruptured spleen, sometimes fatal, as well as serious lung problems, allergic reactions, kidney injuries, and capillary leak syndrome have occurred. Report abdominal or shoulder tip pain, trouble breathing, or allergic reactions to your doctor right away. In patients with sickle cell disorders, serious, sometimes fatal crises can occur. The most common side effect is bone and muscle ache.
Ask your doctor about Neulasta Onpro. Pay no more than $5 per dose with copay card.
It's time for the 10th season of Friendly. I love you for watching.
We can destroy Lucia's lion.
Fox Wednesday is the Empire Fall finale.
This is my reputation.
Lucius, he's your son.
Lucius. Do you want to tell them or should I?
Empire.
Wednesday at 8 on KTVU Fox 2.
Here we go.
San Francisco's Museum of Ice Cream has transformed for the holidays. Enjoy Pinkmas experience.
From a pink forest to holiday treat tickets are now on sale to experience the event.
KTV's Lee Martinez is taking a look around this morning. Lee?
Yes, I've been here before, and it looks very different. A lot of the exhibits have changed. I didn't think I'd be really into pink Christmas trees, but they look beautiful. And they're all around the museum here. So they definitely have gotten into the festive spirit for the holidays, changing things up a little bit. And they also have some new ice cream flavors as well. So I'm going to bring in General Manager Danica, and you guys tell me, you all have different ice cream names. So what is your ice cream name?
Oh, my ice cream name is Caramel, and we are very serious about our ice cream names here, right?
Yes, I'm Matcha Mama. Nice to meet you, Matcha Mama. Matcha Mama. Okay, so what was mine again? You guys came up with one for me.
It's Vanilli!
That's so cute. I'm plain boring vanilla. Well, anyway, you guys said that you're going to have different ice creams as well. So what do we have here?
This Pinkmas season, we have Gingerbread Disco. It's a ginger-based ice cream with gluten-free dough bites.
Nice. Okay, well, Danica, come around. Can you come around this way with me? And we're going to show you a little bit about the different exhibits. Some of them look very familiar if you've been here before, but you've switched a couple of them up. So, George, why don't we have you guys come over this way? You might remember the banana room, too. I love the banana room for taking pictures. Oh, and this one, too, is different. What can you do here?
Gingerbread House. And here, true to our mission of inspiring creativity, you can create your own Christmas ornaments. So feel free to pick up this is a lid of one of our ice creams that we actually sell in our shop. So you can decorate it and then hang it on one of the Christmas trees.
Oh, that's cute. Let's take a look at the Christmas trees there, too, because that's really pretty. You have a couple of them out here already. So you opened with this festival, with the festive vibe about a week ago, right?
That was on Pink Friday. The world may know it as Black Friday, but here it's Pink Friday, November 23rd. That's when Pinkmas began at Museum of Ice Cream.
Okay. And then the banana room is right behind you here, George, and that you've changed it to a very festive holiday swing set, which is really cute. I took a picture here, too, and it came out lovely. So this is different. And then if everyone always wants to know, make sure that you guys have the sprinkle room, too, and that's
yes.
the same.
We have enhanced it for Pinkmas a little, and it's definitely still here to stay. So we're walking into it right now. Welcome to the sprinkle pool, and happy Pinkmas.
And tell me a little bit about the rooms that have changed. So downstairs, we went down there earlier, we took some videos. So what are some of the differences that people will say?
Yeah, over time, we've changed up a bunch of the exhibits. Obviously, for Pinkmas, several are lit up differently. There are different activities, but two installations have changed completely. That's the Carnival Room and our Peppermint Jungle.
And you also have different ice creams down there too. And the very last thing that you have down there is not ice cream. It's actually very festive for the holidays.
In the spirit of community, sharing warmth, we are serving and ending the experience with hot chocolate. It's a special hot chocolate. It's pink. So we might be able to get a taste of that too downstairs later.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I have to try that. So is it chocolate? It's just pink, or is it like a...
It's hot chocolate. It's pink hot chocolate.
Oh, I might have to try that. Okay. So what are your hours here too?
On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we're open from 2:30 to 8. And on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're open from 10 to 8:30.
Okay, so this is a new holiday, Pinkmas, if you want to come to the Museum of Ice Cream. In San Francisco, Lee Martinez, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, thank you, Lee. Both Cal and Stanford are going to bowl games this year. Right? Cal will play TCU in the Cheez-It Bowl. That game takes place at the home of the Arizona Diamondbacks on the day after Christmas. The Golden Bears open as a 2.5-point favorite. The Stanford Cardinal are headed to El Paso, Texas. They play the University of Pittsburgh in the Sun Bowl on New Year's Eve. The Cardinals have opened up as a 7-point favorite against Pitt.
All right, Levi Stadium in Santa Clara hosting two big bowl games. First, it's the Red Box Bowl featuring Michigan State and Oregon. The Ducks are slight favorites in that one. That game is set for New Year's Eve at noon. Then the College Football Championship game takes place at Levi Stadium. Here's a look at the semifinals to the playoffs. Number 1, Alabama will be taking on the 4th-ranked Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. Number 2 seed Clemson plays 3rd-seeded Notre Dame. And the Cotton Bowl, the winners will play in that college football national championship game at Levi Stadium on January 7th.
Meanwhile, the South Bay is preparing to be the center of college football madness when it hosts that championship game next month. Just ahead of that, the Bay Area Host Committee is putting out a call for volunteers. The CFP championship game is to be played January 7th, of course, at Levi's. Volunteers have to be at least 18 years old. The minimum amount of time is at least 3 4-hour shifts. Volunteers will be outfitted with national championship jackets, hats, and scarves. They're looking for about 1,000 volunteers, and the sign-up period is this week. Now to the little ones. Every week, we're happy to highlight some of the incredible athletic abilities of children and teens under 18 in a segment we call That Kid's Got Game. This week, meet 6 siblings from Wisconsin. The eldest of the 6 started a YouTube channel about 5 years ago. They have more than 1 million subscribers to their Trick Shot channel called That's Amazing. Dad says it's kept the children close with the older siblings, passing the torch to the younger ones and bring them on board when they're old enough. I love it.
Bottle flipping on top of a bottle?
Gosh, but here's the thing. You take skill and then you add to that sibling rivalry. Right. Oh, there's nothing that can heighten that. They're incredible.
I love darts.
There you go.
I need a dartboard.
We don't do darts, I'm afraid. No, not in our house. We'll come to your house. Submit your video of what your little one can do and send us the description of the young athlete in your life through the KTVU Facebook page, or you can send it to us via Twitter. Please use our hashtag #ThatKidsGotGame.
And a dartboard in college.
Well, you're a grown man. I mean, your children
There are dartboards in some of San Francisco's most famous watering holes.
Haven't been there. Coming up next on Mornings on to the 9, after-school video game league. Next, the program now being offered in Arizona as some universities start giving out scholarships to gamers. We'll be back after the break. I love it.
We're kicking off the holidays with our biggest day hot topic. Plus, make us your one-stop holiday shop.
Today at 10 on KTVU Fox 2.
First and foremost, solar panels on your roof save you money. And I don't know of too many things that you can do home improvement-wise that actually pay you. So each month, it actually writes you a check, regardless of the cost of your power. California, 45-cent power. Hawaii, 47-cent power. Phoenix, 11-cent power. Vegas, 12-cent power. But solar is 5 cents to 7 cents. Doesn't matter where you are in the country. You're going to save money when you put panels on your roof, and you're going to generate your own electricity. You're going to have that independence. And that's what's super exciting. It's clean, it's green in 2 ways, it's renewable, and it's yours.
That's right. The power is yours when you call Solar for America. And Jim will pay your electric bill up to $1,000 while we install. Plus, save all that money and with your good credit, take advantage of exceptional Singles Cash financing. So you don't have to make a payment until 2020. Call 888-657-2571. That's 888-657-2571.
John Tyson's motto was, "When better chickens are hatched, we will hatch them." It's why all of the Tyson chicken that bears his name is raised with no antibiotics ever. Every nugget, strip, and drumstick. Keep it real. Keep it Tyson.
Injured in a car accident? You probably have questions. Who will pay my medical bills? Do I need a lawyer? Call 1-800-800-0000. Injured? Call the Barnes firm now.
Utah lives on mountain time. With 10 resorts less than an hour from the airport, mountain time means more time on the mountain. It means more time with the kids and more time away from the kids. Get more mountain time in Utah.
This holiday season, be whisked away to Santa's workshop at the North Pole on the Napa Valley Wine Train. Your family will sing along to holiday favorites and enjoy holiday treats. Reserve your special place on the Santa Train. A magical night awaits on the Napa Valley Wine Train.
The A's pitch a game-changing plan.
Very exciting day for the Oakland A's.
Going to be an entirely transformed area.
And when crazy weather wrecks your commute, Mornings on 2 has your back.
It's raining real hard right now. It really rained hard overnight in the South Bay. The tree hitting it right here on the windshield.
With the power of 2 to work for you every day.
It's not just Monday, it's Mug Monday, and right now starts your chance to win a KTVU Fox 2 News mug. To enter, go to the KTVU Facebook page, click on the contest link, and fill out our entry form. Entries are accepted right now through 1 o'clock this afternoon, so don't miss your chance to win. These are the mugs we are talking about. They do double duty. KTVU Fox 2 on one side and KTVU Plus on the other. If you're our big winner, we'd love it if you took a picture with your mug and sent it to us. We'd be happy to feature you here on the air.
Good looking mug. Some Arizona high schools are starting an after-school video game league. The state's called Interscholastic Association is partnering with online gaming organization Legacy Esports to implement a program for schools. Arizona school officials say being part of the program might encourage students to pursue STEM-related careers.
All right, the couple who lost their engagement ring when it fell down a Times Square utility grate have now been identified. John Drennan and Daniela Anthony of England were seen in surveillance video when Drennan proposed in Central Park and the ring slipped off her finger and then fell down that grate. After searching over the weekend, New York police were able to locate the ring 8 feet underground, but police did not know how to contact the couple, so they put a message out there on social media. Drennan saw it and tweeted police yesterday saying, "I cannot thank you enough. You will definitely get a mention at our wedding."
Can you imagine?
Nice work. And
don't propose over a grate.
Hey.
Just slipped off and went down the grate.
Gosh, I know. Now they have a good story to tell.
There you go.
For generations. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll see you right back here at noon for more news of the day. Right now, our news coverage continues on KTVU.com.
Fizbo.
What are you doing? Trying to come up with a new way of telling people what we do. Bob, don't reinvent the wheel, Jerry. Tell them that we rent space to individuals find their own vehicles in a safe place where we help them from start to finish. Yeah, Fizbo. And we don't get fully paid until your vehicle sells. Oh, I get it. For sale by owner. Fizbo. It begins with a call. Or come see us in person. Wheels and Deals on the El Camino Real in Santa Clara. 408-246-1000.
Why are so many people switching their Medicare coverage to Kaiser Permanente Senior Advantage? Is it because there's 0 annual deductible?
And 0 copays for preventive care.
Or because you get quality care and affordable coverage?
That also includes prescription drug coverage.
Maybe it's because you can visit your doctor, get tests, and refill prescriptions.
Often in one convenient location.
Or because you get your choice of all available Kaiser Permanente doctors.
And all available doctors and even specialists welcome Kaiser Permanente Medicare Health Plan members.
Or is it because Kaiser Permanente's Medicare Health Plan is rated 5 out of 5 stars in California 8 years in a row? That's Medicare's highest possible rating.
You can enroll online or by phone in as little as 20 minutes. What are you waiting for?
Find out for yourself. Call now and get your free Kaiser Permanente Guide to Medicare.
Choosing the right Medicare health plan can be easy.
Call Kaiser Permanente.
There's 0 annual deductible and 0 copays for preventive care. You get quality care and affordable coverage with prescription drug coverage. You can visit your doctor, get tests, and refill prescriptions, often in one convenient location. You get your choice of all available Kaiser Permanente doctors.
And the peace of mind that comes from knowing your Medicare health plan has earned 5 out of 5 stars, Medicare's highest possible rating.
Call 1-877-258-8922 now to speak with one of our Kaiser Permanente Medicare specialists and get your free Kaiser Permanente guide to Medicare. Call 1-877-258-8922 now or visit us at kp.org/stars. That's 1-877-258-8922 and get your free Kaiser Permanente guide to Medicare. Call now.
All week, we're helping you score the best shopping deals in town. In Park, here on Bling. Plus, Nazanin and Randy.
Today at 11 on KTVU Fox 2.
Live from New York City, it's the Woody Williams Show.
I'm doing okay. As a matter of fact, let's get started. It's time for... The holiday season is on. And here at Wendy, this is our first day of our holiday look. Our set is fabulous. We have a 12-foot tree and our fireplace, which, did fire marshals know about this? We also have our menorah. It's lit. Happy Hanukkah. We have help decorating from our friends at ChristmasCentral.com. It's a one-stop shop for all your holiday stuff. Thousands of stuff to choose from, artificial trees and all the stuff, okay? So go there. Anyway, all right. So, over the weekend, it was the big wedding celebration for Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra. He's 26 and she's 36. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, but his 26, because he's a showbiz guy, maybe that makes him like 35. You know, mentally. Although if she's a showbiz girl, then wouldn't you think her 36 would make her more like somebody older? Anyway, they got married twice in a 4-day celebration in India. There were all kind of beautiful pictures, you guys. I mean, they say that this only cost them $500,000, which to me is a steal. For all, did you see any of the pictures? Like, look, this is all the families all blended together. Oh God, all blended together. So they had the Christian wedding on Saturday, which was officiated by Nick's dad, and then the Hindu wedding on Sunday. And in Hindu celebration, both families had a sing-off. Now, no, this is full-blown choreography, okay? His family versus her family. All in fun, you know, I'm sure everyone's drinking, having fun, doing it, yeah. But how annoying. I mean, but if she likes it, fine. You know, quite frankly, you know, the great thing about a wedding like this is that you don't have to bring a gift. What do you bring? You bring yourself. They already have all the money. What do you bring? What do you bring? I didn't believe in this relationship at first. They forced it down my throat. So now I got it stuck right here. I don't know whether I want to swallow it or throw it up, but it's right here. It's right here. I like her though. She's got an older presence, more like his mother. I like him though. He's got an older presence, more like her boyfriend. Well, look, she $500,000 for this wedding is a steal. Did you see the place they got married in, this big palace, and there were all kind of gold, fancy outfits and all kind of good food and transportation and security, and who's paying for all that? But she comes from royalty, so to speak, in her country. You know, people know her as being a Bollywood star, and that's all they know her as. But before she was a Bollywood star, where she made, you know, tens of millions of dollars being a Bollywood star, she might not be that big over here, but that's what she did over there. But before that, before she came along doing that, her parents were actually heroes in her native, because they're two doctors serving in the armed forces over there. Yeah, that's not a lot of money, but that is a lot of pride and dignity. So yeah, the family was already a hero, and then all of a sudden she comes along and she becomes this big Bollywood star. You know, congratulations to both of you. You know, quite frankly, meeting somebody and getting engaged in a 4-month period is all too much to take. I wish you well. And then do you go all 4 days? Like I would say, I would say, what day do you want me to be there? Otherwise, I can't go. Can we still be friends though? Don't be mad at me. I just don't have to. Oh, I have to work. That's it. I have to work on Thursday and Friday. I can only be there Saturday. I have to be back Sunday too. Also. Okay. Something really scary happened. You might have heard Magic Johnson's daughter was a victim of a home invasion over the weekend. She's only 23 years old. Her name is Elise. Very innocent. Look at her. Lovely. There she is. 23. She was in an Airbnb in the San Fernando Valley. Now, I don't know what kind of neighborhood that is. All I know is that they were at an Airbnb. And she was there with about 10 or 12 of her besties. All girls, you know, hanging out, chilling, probably, you know, drinking, doing what we all did when we were 23. It's not always all about sitting around boys. Sometimes we want to get away, and just for a weekend. From what people were telling me who are familiar with California, hi Cali, the San Fernando Valley is close to the club set, so they might have gone to the club. Anyway, look, let me tell you what happened. So the girls are all sitting around cackling, doing what girls do, probably painting nails, talking about boys, taking selfies, chiefing. Drinking. 2 armed men came in and held all the friends at gunpoint. There was not. This is when you say there's safety in numbers. No. And Elise was in the bedroom, and instead of helping her friends, she did what I would do. Escaped through the back door, ran down the street to help. Yeah. But the thieves left before the cops got there. So they rolled off with $400,000 in Rolex watches, jewelry, electronics, and cash. Fortunately, no one was injured. Now, in our morning meeting, there was a little discussion, like why was she at an Airbnb? Why would, you know, this is Magic Johnson's daughter. Why couldn't she have had the keys to one of his many houses? I said, because she's 23. You know, yeah, she is Magic Johnson's daughter. Sometimes you want to get up from under that, and you just want to hang with your girls. And Airbnb is what people do. Well, that's what you do. The people are on the loose. They'll probably never get caught. Another theory is, people in California, I noticed, you leave your doors unlocked all the time. There's always a door unlocked. Around back, the shed, the upstairs balcony, whatever. When they want to get in, they get in. All you have to do in California is just wait for the lock to be due. You leave your keys in your car, you leave your cars unlocked, you leave your cars outside on the driveway. Well, what do you expect? That California air and that good weed, it's got you all. You have to be on alert. You have to be on alert. And do I think they spotted her because she's Magic Johnson's daughter? Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe these are just a bunch of really cute girls at the club. You know how girls dance together and, then tumble into, their car and go back to their Airbnb. They could have been followed by the bad guys. An easy setup, see? Girls get back to the Airbnb, slightly twisted, forget to twist the lock. Plus it's California. Well, I'm glad no one was hurt. I'm sorry to hear about what happened. As a parent here in New York, I'll tell you how that would have gone down. You're not going to an Airbnb. Let me and your father call up, and we call up a proper hotel with proper security, one door in and one door. You know what I'm saying? Not that that's any safer, but it's a little safer. Yes. Like, you can hang with your friends, but let us just make sure it's a little safer. So Kid Rock and Joy Behar are going at it. Well, here's the thing. When you're not used to live TV, it can all go bad real quick. He insulted Joy on live TV and then got fired from being the Grand Marshal of the Nashville Christmas Day Parade. Now, let me tell you something. This parade is a really, really, really big deal. A really big deal. So just take a look and listen closely.
People need to calm down, get a little less politically correct, and I would say, love everybody. It's not. Really? I say, screw that Joy Behar bitch. Everybody do that.
You cannot say that.
I mean, lady.
We apologize for that.
First of all, reporter, no you don't. You love that action. Second of all, he wouldn't have lost his job, I believe, if he didn't call her a bitch. If he just said, except for that Joy Behar. It's the bitch word. And